We've got a bit of an emergency again. Zach Knight is, I just spoken with Jesus and Terrence Jenkins on Skype, and Zach Knight is planning on sending it's not really a Nukkake, they call it like a Bukkake, and it operates from the same principle as a Nukkake, except when this one explodes, instead of releasing semen, it's going to release poo, like the kind of poo that a Mexican makes when they eat a lot of Mexican food. And apparently the reason Zach Knight has decided to send a Bukkake, that's what Jesus called it, to Mexico is because he doesn't like Mexican food. So I have been getting threats from somebody who claims to be Zach Knight at my YouTube channel, claiming that he's going to launch a Nukkake onto Mexico. And that is not quite correct. It's actually going to be a Bukkake. And the reason he's going to do it has nothing to do with Matthew McConaughey. From what I understand, he's just going to do it simply because this impersonator who was impersonating Zach Knight, I think it was like a Zach Knight clone, was threatening to send a Nukkake to Mexico if I wouldn't give them Matthew McConaughey. Well, that was all hype. He was a big fake. But there is a real threat now. What happened was Zach Knight decided that he would act on the threat of his clone. That was actually a Zach Knight clone who was making those comments at my YouTube channel. And the real Zach Knight has decided that he wants to send a Bukkake to Mexico. And he decided, the clone gave him the idea, his clone gave him the idea, and he wants to send a Bukkake. Why? Because he doesn't like Mexican food. We need some scientists. Jesus said he doesn't want to get personally involved in this because he says we can solve this ourselves, but he said we need to act fast. We need some scientists who will help us to create a shield over Mexico that will protect the Mexican people from this Bukkake. Realize that the ingredients in the Bukkake is going to be an exponential explosion of Mexican poop based on their hot and spicy food. I guess like when you get diarrhea, when you eat their food, it's going to be full of that kind of stuff. And it's probably going to be radioactive at the same time. So any scientist, and Bill Nye, the science guy, you helped us tremendously with that Malaysian airliners with the Godzilla Jesuit. If you could help us again to come up with a shield that will neutralize this Nukkake so that it will not damage the Mexican people. And we need to move fast because Zach Knight is getting ready to launch it any minute now. And from what I understand, if we don't act fast and get a shield up there that will be effective at blocking or maybe causing this Bukkake to ricochet back onto the Jesuits or whatever, there's going to be catastrophic damage in Mexico. So for the sake of the Mexican people, okay, we need a scientist you need to put a shield up over Mexico now to block the Bukkake. It needs to be effective against a radioactive poop type of explosion that would create tidal waves of radioactive Mexican poop from their hot and spicy food. Okay, so we need some scientists. Bill Nye, like I said, you saved us with that Malaysian airliner that was missing, with the Godzilla Jesuit, where the plane actually went. And we found that the Godzilla Jesuit, we gave him diarrhea. So, and we gave him like magnesium. So maybe we need to put some sort of ingredient in the shield that would be the same stuff that gives people constipation, to cause the poop maybe to harden so that it can't flow, so that it can't be in liquid form. We need to put some sort of a catalyst in the shield so that when the Bukkake hits the shield, it will chemically transform the poop into a benign substance, like maybe turn it into water that could vaporize in the clouds or something like that. that would seem like a possible solution. So this shield should have the ability to chemically transform the poop into something harmless, and maybe also have maybe a spermicide. I don't, not a spermicide, but a something that will negate the radiation in the bomb as well. Something that will negate the radiation and chemically transform the poop into something else. So that's what the shield needs to do, okay? And we need to do this really fast. So those who feel they can help us, email my man at Gail Cord Schuler. I'll have a link underneath this video. Gail Cord Schuler, GailChordschuler @gmail.com. That is our Church of Gales.
Well, on that note, welcome to the show, guys. How's everybody doing? So anyway, yeah, that's an interesting, that's a great opener. Bukkake flying, about to hit Mexico. Got to build a shield. So, if you want to know what happens next, you're just going to have to stay tuned into my live stream. Anyway, it's good to see everybody. I hope you're all doing fine. I have had it was a terrible night at work. I'm surprised I didn't like blow the place up on my way out, but it's over now. I ain't got to worry about it until tomorrow. And then I get the weekend. So, yes. We need to make a fiber shield to protect us from the bukkake. Yeah, like something like with bran flakes and maybe some lettuce, some cabbages. But you know, if the bukkake hits the cabbages, like it's you know, it still might be protected, but then it's going to smell bad. And if there's obese women poo in that bukkake, like all of Mexico is going to be retarded. And we can't have that. We don't want that. Did your job make you watch 3 hours of Deaf Noodles too? Brother, I can barely, I can't even sit through 1 hour of that guy. So, I frankly don't see I struggle to see the appeal of the man. Like, even without his thin-skinned lol suits. But anyway, let's get to the opener and move this shit forward. All right. I love that opener. Ionic Imodium shield. See that? Well, maybe like somebody else said up here. Maybe Jaya, who says that, yeah, maybe Brent can retrain the Cumgineers to be Poogineers, which would be great, but then they might forget how Cumgineering works, and that just leaves everybody susceptible to Nukaki attacks again. And we don't want that again. Not after what happened to Canada. Everyone pour one out for Canada. But yeah, so anyway. Hang on just 1 second. Whoa. Sorry about that. So anyway, the title of the blog post in question is called Emergency. Gale's men wrecked in space, millions dead. And then it goes on to say, everyone needs to do the Gale commandments. If not, my Gale shield will weaken, enabling Laurie McBride's cum star to destroy Earth. So, how the hell did we get to the... how did we get to cum stars and Gale shields? And yeah, no, not millions. And I've kind of noticed something. Millions of people tend to die on the Church of Gale quite often. Like, I know that if you join the $25 Patreon tier for like, there is a disclaimer about it. You are warned that at $25 a month, you too will die for Gale. But on the other hand, you get all the brain to brain sex you could possibly hope for. But anyway, and of course, we get a whole big story here from Dearest Brent. That's how this all goes down. Which, of course, I will dramatically read. Because I don't know why. I actually just really enjoy doing that. It's fun for me. And I'll put in some background music, too. Got some nice background music. Millions more Jesuits than there actually are, according to the estimate I got on Google, died in the wars. Okay, well, the Jesuits can, they control everything. That they can change the facts. Not the Jesse music. Oh shit, no, I don't want Jesse music. We don't want Jesse music. How about this? Yeah, here we go. Yeah, this is some nice dramatic reading music. Jesse is bae. Yeah. Yeah, it's got a nice little like trip hop sort of thing going on here, which I think is perfect for Gale. All right. So at 10:57 a.m., January 21st, 2021, Eastern Standard Time, United States. So this occurred before the Gale Wars, by the way. From a chronological standpoint, this actually happened. This occurred before. So Zach Knight and Gale are still enemies at this point. They're still trying to thwart one another. Anyway, we kicked it off with a email from Dearest Brent. Dearest Gale, such a cataclysm of events has transpired over the past few hours. What began as an ordinary day for the men and our patrons turned into a waking nightmare. I have so much to tell you, and I'll start from the beginning. There I was in the briefing room, reviewing our upcoming mission with our crew of $25 tier patrons. In our humble little squad, we had patrons John Balcora, Guy Jackman, Lila, and Clock. All right, everyone, I began. As you all read in the memo I sent to your emails yesterday, the Church of Gale Space Fleet is currently en route to Moonxico for the purposes of building a new prison to house the gargantuan fat chick, Sarah Avery. On the projector screen beside me, pictures of a very fat Sarah Avery flicked across the screen. The photos depicted Sarah gobbling down cake, puking, crying, and then gobbling down cake some more. In each photo, she was visibly seen to be growing bigger, until eventually her fat, gelatinous body was oozing its way out of her prison bars. Sarah has once again failed on a diet, and she is now nearing critical mass. If we don't get her weight under control, she's at risk of becoming a black hole again. Our plan is to construct a new prison specifically for Sarah Avery on Moonxico. This new prison will be large enough to house her while also being exceptionally isolated, so that we can keep her on a long-term starvation diet. This new prison base will now be known as Moontanimo. I pressed the button on the projector's remote to flick through the pictures again. The next picture, I showed a cartoon drawing of an anthropomorphic taco. The taco had a big smile on its face, with its arms in the air, and was standing next to a picture of the moon. Moonxico, formerly known as Earth's moon, is home to a race of sentient tacos and burritos. Some of you may all not be familiar with Moonxico. It's important to understand the culture there as we work with the inhabitants on building this prison. So I've prepared a tiny history lesson. I pressed a button on the slide that began to play one of Gail's videos from early 2015. Back in January 2015, the Jesuits sent a Bukkake bomb to Earth aimed at Mexico. The Bukkake was a nuclear bomb filled with poop. The projector flipped to a picture of the Bukkake bomb sailing toward Mexico as the citizens of Mexico scurried about in a panic. Scientist Bill Nye was able to intercept this bomb using a shield that converted the Bukkake into delicious tacos and burritos. To our horror, the technology used to turn the Bukkake into tacos and burritos also created a giant sentient taco and a sentient burrito. Guy Judd Jackman rubbed his chin and thought, "Makes perfect sense." Yeah. That's a good question. Who is Sarah Avery? I'll ask. I'll find out. And maybe that's a whole other story that we can cover. And eventually I'm going to have to talk about Laurie McBride. But yeah, it makes perfect sense. And when you create a shield to prevent a Bukkake, I imagine like all the energy from the shield combined with the radiation, combined with the poop, is going to naturally turn all that shit into sentient tacos and burritos. I continued. The giant sentient self-aware taco and burrito then flew into outer space and chased after Church of Gale. Clock raised his hand. Now wait a minute. You mean the original Church of Gale? No, not the original Church of Gale. This was the second version of Church of Gale. I pressed a few buttons on the remote to pull up pictures of previous versions of Church of Gale. The clock asked a very good question, so allow me to catch everyone up. The original Church of Gale was a spaceship built like a giant tower. It moved from place to place using teleportation technology. In late May of 2012, the Jesuits attacked the original Church of Gale with Bukkake bombs, and the fight dragged out into deep space. At the time, the Jesuits had developed a superweapon called the Orgasmic Telefornication Ray. We know about this. Okay. The Orgasmic Telefornication Ray, guys, the weapon that turns masses of people into rapists. And okay, so in order to protect Gale from being raped, Vladimir Putin heroically rammed the Church of Gale into the Jesuit warship carrying the telefornication ray, destroying the Church of Gale in the process. Our dear Jim Carrey died, and the rest of Gale's men barely escaped. The world is missing out, guys. We will never see that fourth Ace Ventura film now because of Jim Carrey's sacrifice. The next slide's depicted in the original Church of Gale in its tower form, followed by a photo of it being destroyed in an explosion, and then a photo of the second Church of Gale. The second Church of Gale was a massive floating city with a central tower in the center. It ran on powerful Jesus technology. That version of the Church of Gale was later destroyed during the final battle with Angelina Ballerina, which I need to know more about. Lila piped in. And now the Church of Gale isn't even its own spaceship anymore. It's just a group of old warships that we've been borrowing from the Jesuits since the fight with Angelina Ballerina. Correct, I said. That was after Zack Knight turned good, and the Jesuits split off between the good Zack Knight Jesuits and the bad Laurie McBride Jesuits. John remarked, "It would be nice to have our own spaceship again instead of having to rely on those clunky old Jesuit ships to keep our group together." Agree, said Clock. Jesuit technology is difficult to work with. Everything is powered by semen. Jesuits are genetically primed for producing lots of cum. Us normies can't keep up. Just keep drinking Gatorade, folks, I advised. That's why there's Gatorade vending machines on every deck. You think that's bad, Lila scoffed. Try being a woman on board. If I want to blow dry my hair in the morning, I gotta blow a guy first. Guy chimed in. Speaking of which, if you need a hand in producing more semen, Clock, you know where to find me. Okay, back to the subject, I told them, corralling the team back onto the lesson. I clicked the remote to change the slides. In order to escape the sentient taco and burrito, Gale ordered the Church of Gale to fly into the sun. In theory, the church would be able to withstand traveling through the sun thanks to its shields, while the taco and burrito got burnt to a crisp behind it. To everyone's surprise, the taco and burrito survived the trip through the sun, while the heat from the sun simply made them crispy and delicious. The next slide depicted a plate of Mexican food a la carte. The Church of Gale had meanwhile burned up all of its shields and was now a sitting duck for the taco and burrito. That was when the taco and burrito began making love and started flying toward the moon. The interstellar copulation of the giant taco and burrito produced a race of sentient anthropomorphic beings called Moonxicans. The next slide showed a group of happy tacos and burritos having a fiesta. These Moonxicans traveled to Earth, where they began wreaking havoc on Earth's society, especially the economy. They began making babies at a rapid rate, and as their population exploded, they all began going on welfare, siphoning resources from the hardworking humans. We couldn't allow the Moonxicans to stay on Earth, so we exiled them off of our planet and onto the moon. I flicked to the next slide, showing a sentient burrito placing a Moonxican flag on the moon. Since the moon has no resources, the Moonxicans were dependent on trade deals with Earth in order to survive as a society. In exchange for air and water from Earth, the Moonxicans send us their excess babies and aborted fetuses to be served as food at Taco Bell chains. This is why Uncle Tebow never runs for the border. Oh God, what about their Baja Blast Mountain Dew? Is that made out of babies too? I don't know if I want to drink that anymore. I'm scared, guys. Hold me. Sentient. Oh, Callie! Hey, Callie! Well, I'm glad they're having a good time on the moon. Jason Blaha Blast! Anyway, let's continue. I flicked to the next slide that showed a Taco Bell restaurant, and then another that showed happy humans eating delicious tacos. And there you have it, folks. That's the history of Moonxico. If this is your first trip, it should be quite the experience. Any more questions? With perfect timing, the intercom monitor lit up and a robotic voice came over the loudspeaker with an announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, Church of Gale is now arriving at Moonxico. Look, guys, Lila exclaimed, calling the other patrons over to the windows. Far down below from space, the landscape of Moonxico was coming into view. As the church grew closer to the moon's surface, the patrons laid their eyes upon the vast spectacle of a bustling Moonxican city. Lazy Moonxicans slept peacefully on the sidewalks, while little Moonxican children played in the streets unattended, occasionally being splattered by drunk Moonxican drivers. Around every corner were muggings, drug deals, and rape, and a peppy atmosphere of Moonxican polka chortled from every building. There were colorful fruit stands and steaming food trucks selling delicious food to obese burritos on their lunch breaks. Behind the gas station, two burritos were removing the meat from inside a dead baby taco and stuffing it with cocaine. Well-dressed burritos and beautiful tacos strolled arm in arm down the sidewalks, past great tall buildings and dirty fountains. At the city center square stood a giant marble statue of Bill Nye, his arms outstretched like Jesus. "All right, crew," I said, "we have a few minutes before landing. It's time to get ready." "Hey," Guy pointed. "What's that in the distance? Does Moonxico have its own moon or something?" coming into view from deep space was a massive, giant pink sphere. As the object accelerated closer and closer to our ship, I knew it was no moon. I raised my hand to my chest to tap my communicator and contact Vladimir when suddenly, boom! A powerful white beam blurred past the window, grazing the ship and plunging deep into Moonxico. An explosion rocked the ship and sent myself and everyone in the room flying into the walls. For several moments, we bounced around like rocks shaking inside a tin can. Deaf from the sound and out of breath, I was left temporarily paralyzed on the floor. The voice of Zach Knight came over my communicator. "Brent, it's Zach. It looks like our ship's hull has been breached." "What's happening up there, Zach?" Guy Jackman gasped. "Oh no, the Moonsicans." Down below on the surface of Moonxico was a giant crater, freshly created by the impact of the massive laser beam. As we all stared into the crater, a white liquid began to ooze from the surface. Like an erupting volcano, the liquid seeped over the rim of the crater and began engulfing the nearby Moonsican cities. The burritos began drowning, becoming soggy until they died, while barely crispy tacos floated to the surface pregnant. "Zach, what the hell happened?" I asked. "Was that one of our Jesuit weapons?" "No idea, Brent. It looks like..." Zach was cut off as a picture flashed up on the view screen in the room. "Oopsies!" Lori giggled, daintily touching her fingers to her mouth. "Looks like I missed." "Lori McBride!" We all shouted in unison. "It's me," Lori confirmed cheerily. "Did you all forget that we are at war?" "Oh, I guess you did. All Gail's been doing is making videos about boring presidential cabinet pics and shopping for useless garbage online. Meanwhile, she's left you floating around in these outdated Jesuit ships while I've been making upgrades to my own Jesuit military." Lori raised her hands, gesturing to the deck of her new pink spaceship. "Do you like it? I call it the Cum Star. You'll really like all the new toys it comes with." "Well, I hope you got insurance on that big pink disco ball of yours, because you're going down, Lori McBride," I shouted, then tapped my communicator. "Vladimir, fire the new cockies!" Vladimir roared a Russian war cry, and we watched as several new cockies launched toward the Cum Star. Each of the new cockies successfully connected with the surface of the ship and exploded with their payload. To our dismay, the bukkake inside the bomb simply oozed instead of sprayed. Sad semen leaked down the sides of the Cum Star, barely penetrating it. Lori McBride cackled. "Are you serious right now? Your Church of Gale new cockies are no match for a Jesuit warship." "Brent, it's Zach." Zach came in over the communicator. "Lori's kind of right there. Your new cockies are pretty low yield." "I've been drinking as much Gatorade as I can," Clock replied sheepishly. "Let us help," Zach then turned to shout a command to all Jesuits in the fleet. "Fire the new cockies!" Dozens of high-potency new cockies burst from their Jesuit warships with intense vigor and vitality, as though they were flying high on gas station boner pills. The new cockies rushed the Cum Star and threatened a massive payload. In the next instant, defensive missiles fired back from the Cum Star, bursting into parachutes. The giant parachutes opened in front of the new cockies, engulfing them before tying off at the end and sealing them inside. The inert new cockies exploded weakly inside the parachutes before floating uselessly off into space. "Behold," Lori declared, "my condom defense missiles. Even Zach Knight hasn't upgraded his fleet to prepare for me." "Quick," I told our patrons, "we need to get to the torpedo bay." The patrons nodded and followed behind me like a squad as I exited the room, and we all sprinted down the corridor. "What's the plan, Brent?" John asked, huffing as he ran. "Some of the spermicide bullets were salvaged from the wreckage of the old Church of Gale," I explained. "They normally wouldn't be compatible with these ships, but we retrofit them using the guidance and propulsion systems from Jesuit missiles." We were suddenly jolted into the walls as the ship shook, and Lila screamed. The battle was roaring outside in space. Lori's Cum Star fired off new cockies as Vladimir struck back with weak anti-semen lasers. After the hit, we gathered ourselves and kept running. I continued to answer John's question. The modified version should work if we can get them loaded onto the torpedo tubes. Explosions continued to boom outside, drowning out our voices. What's with the Jesuits not having spermicide or anti-semen technology anyway? Guy asked, shouting over the cacophony. It's not that they don't have it, it's just that it's sacrilegious for Jesuits. Anything that explodes on contact with semen is kind of like radioactive waste to them. Another explosion rocked our ship. Well, at least before we die, we'll have gotten a good education, Guy joked wryly. Our group reached the torpedo bay, and I instructed the guys to open the vaults and remove the old spermicide bullets, now modified into spermicide missiles. The three hoisted up one of the missiles and began carrying it toward the torpedo tube. That's when one of the guys squeaked, "Ow!" and another stumbled. "Hey, that's my leg," Clock cried. "Sorry, I thought it was your dick," John shouted back with sarcasm. The trio stumbled and tripped over one another, and the missile was dropped. "Hey, what the?" Guy exclaimed. It was too late. The instant the missile made contact with the floor vaporized. A clean, smooth hole in the oblong shape of a missile glided all the way down through the ship. At the very bottom of the hole, there was only open space. Everyone facepalmed inside when they realized what happened. "It's because everything on a Jesuit ship is contaminated with semen," Clock groaned. Lila made a disgusted face. "You know what? It's really gross." Boom! Another hit from the cum star quaked through the ship, sending us all stumbling once more. "We have no time to lose," I yelled. "Quick, let's get the rest of the missiles loaded onto the tubes. Carefully this time. We don't want to turn our own ship into Swiss cheese." The patrons hurried onto the task. One by one, each of the missiles was hauled out of the vault and loaded into the tubes. Zach's voice came in over the communicator. "Hey, we're getting obliterated out here, you guys. We've already lost all of our ships. Me and 13 are ordering the rest of our crew into the escape pods now. You guys had better follow suit before you get creamed." "We've not lost the fight yet. Just wait till Lori gets a taste of these spermicide missiles," I responded. "A dirty bomb. Cool. All right, guys. Good luck," the communicator chirped as Zach signed out. "Do you really think this will work?" Lila fretted nervously. "It's our last shot. It better work," John replied. With renewed courage, I slammed on my communicator. "Vladimir, fire the spermicide missiles!" Vladimir shouted in mad Russian over the communicator, and then in crystal clear English. "Firing spermicide missiles!" A blitzkrieg of spermicide missiles blasted from our torpedoes. With bated breath, we watched as the phallic missiles pierced through space and honed in expertly on the cum star. Lori McBride surveyed the battlefield with muted scorn on her wicked face. As she watched the approach of the incoming missiles, her eyes lit up. She smiled devilishly. "Oh, Brent, did you really try to combine Jesus technology with Jesuit technology? Pathetic." She pressed a button on her screen, and instantly the spermicide missiles froze. My ship's software can link right into the guidance system of the old Jesuits' technology. I am still a Jesuit, after all. The spermicide missiles then rotated on their axis until they faced the opposite direction, and then were forcefully launched back towards our fleet. With a man's force, the missiles began penetrating through each of the ships in our fleet and rained down upon our own shields, throwing us all into an explosion of emergency sirens on board. "Emergency!" Vlad yelled over the intercom above the deafening blaring of the sirens. "Escape to space pods! I repeat, emergency! Escape to space pods!" With our shields that's the worst Russian accent ever. With our shields quickly dying and our sirens blaring, I gathered the church of patrons and we all fled to the escape pod deck. Out in the corridors, hundreds of church members stuffed themselves along the halls and rushed toward the deck themselves. "Oh no," Lila cried. "The space pods only fit 2 people each. We don't have enough for everyone. Some are going to have to stay behind." "Not on my watch," I declared. We arrived at the door of a space pod. After opening the door, I gestured to Lila. "Ladies first." Lila stepped comfortably inside. I then shoved Clock, John, and Guy into the space pod after forcing them all in like a can of sardines. The patrons struggled and protested with discomfort. Looking to Guy, I nodded my head and affirmatively said, "No homo," before sitting in his lap and stuffing myself inside the pod with all of them. After entering the passcode into the keypad inside, we were forcefully ejected from the ship. As we sailed like a helpless marble through space, none of us could help but watch as the remnants of the final battle through the screens. I watched as our former ship's shield finally died, and the raging fire of spermicide bullets began turning it into a giant colander. Hundreds of tiny space pods scattered through the stars like dust. Lori wasn't finished yet. "Don't fall asleep now! I'm ready for my climax!" she beamed, her voice blaring over the intercom systems of every remaining ship and escape pod. The giant hole in the center of the Cumstar opened, and out slid an enormous phallic cannon. My new favorite toy. Prepare for the warm blast. Lori flipped back her head and laughed wickedly. The head of the phallic cannon opened, its insides glowing with a bright white light. In one massive explosion, it ejaculated a powerful white beam straight through the center of our Jesuit fleet. The beam completely decimated the entire remains of the Church of Gale and Jesuit space fleets, burning through them like wet paper before beaming down onto Moonxico. The beam blew yet another crater deep into the surface of the moon, this one deeper than the last, filling the core of the moon with laser semen, and sending a crack that split straight through the moon itself. Molten semen erupted from every crevice, flooding and impregnating every moonskin on the moon. A somber silence hung heavily in our space pod. There we were, stranded in this tiny tin can. Our arms and legs gangled about each other like a perverted game of Twister. Our fleet was gone. The Jesuit fleet was gone. The pink Cumstar loomed in the distance as the bits and pieces of our warships floated lifelessly in the atmosphere around it and crumbled away into a quiet death. Moonxico was a disaster zone, its cities in ruins, likely millions dead or rendered pregnant. Everything we had known in the past hour had been destroyed. To our petrified relief, the Cumstar soon rotated away and slowly faded back into blackness of space. Satisfied with her victory and reasonably assuming we were all dead, Lori was finished with us. Minutes passed, yet it felt like hours. Finally, a voice came through my communicator. "Brent, it's Zach. Did you guys make it?" "We made it, Zach. Myself and our patrons are still alive. Who else survived?" "Don't know yet. There weren't enough space pods for everyone. The only way me and 13 could fit was for me to stuff my entire penis inside her." I felt my stomach drop with sorrow, worried for the other men on the marriage list and all of our church members. With nowhere to go and nobody to save us, our hive of space pods drifted endlessly into the starry abyss. Just then, the light of the moon flashed off of a tiny object nearing our space pod. It was a little glass bottle floating through space as if drifting on the waves of a starry ocean. Almost as if it had a life of its own, it seemed intended for our pod. Deeply curious, I had to know what was inside it. With trepidation, I pressed a button on the keypad to beam it aboard. I took the glass bottle in my hands. It was sealed with a wooden cork and had a piece of paper rolled up inside. I popped the cork and removed the paper, unveiling its contents. It read, and we'll just take a break there because I need a drink of water and everything else. All right, and Sleek says, "Remember that time she teleported all the Mexicans into outer space, and we just never talked about them again?" Yeah, they're well, no, it was explained that by the time they actually like got around to thinking about them, they died. A dead baby taco. Yeah, that's a sentence that I have never in my life expected to actually vocalize. Thank you, Gail. Thank you so fucking much. And yeah, Moonxico kind of does sound dope as fuck. If we pay for the $25 tier, can we actually go to Moonxico? Like, will they like take us there? Because I kind of want to check it out. I ain't gonna lie. I just want to know what the lucha libre scene is like in Moonxico. I'm sure it's badass. And how do they fit the masks on the tacos anyway? It's like an episode of Star Trek, but with more semen power technology. You know, scoff at semen power technology all you want, but I hear it's pretty badass. I'm I think once I get like a little bit like more, once I become a Jesuit of higher rank, I'm thinking about having my motorcycle converted to a Jesuit engine. What is this life support? It sounds like socialism. We should get rid of it. And yeah, that was kind of a downer note to take a break on, wasn't it, Squeak? And oh shit, if we become patrons, we can be in our adventures. But we also run the risk of dying and sentient taco and burrito attacks, like just all sorts of crazy shit. You know what? It's kind of one of those things where we've got to ask ourselves, is the risk worth the reward? And the more I think about it, and the more I read the Patreon tier, I'm thinking the reward is worth every risk to be a part of the Church of Gale's strange adventures in space. Anyway, let's continue. So opening the letter from space. Dear Gale, ha ha ha! These past few weeks have been so much fun for me. You know Jesus would never make love to you, but you're such a selfish girl, you made brain to brain with him on purpose. You thought you could double dip by screwing Jesus while secretly hoping it would turn out to be Satan instead, so that you could have the satisfaction of getting them both. Clever girl. Surprise, Gale! It was me with my strap-on dildo the whole time. The same one I raped Brett with in the 90s. How does it feel to know that you're a lesbian? Face it, Gale. You're just a basic monkey brancher who's never satisfied with the man you have. You hold on to Brent for security while always being on the lookout for a more perfect man to replace him with. You blab on and on about how Brent is so masculine and vast, but he's pretty cowardly to be with a woman who cheats on him the second someone better comes along. Admit it, Brent's a weak cock and you like it. At least own that shit, Gale. Oh, and before you get your hopes up, Satan had nothing to do with this. It was all me. Don't get your panties wet thinking you got to have free sex with Satan and still claim innocence. You messed up. Yep. Better go love bomb Brent again to make sure you still have that nice secure branch to swing back to. And after trying to cheat on him with another man yet again, and having it all blow up in your face. Thanks so much for helping me make Jesus cry. You could have just done what he asked you to do instead of having a pity party and soothing yourself with sexual sins. I mean, God, Gale, how hard is it for a grown woman to clean out a one-bedroom apartment? No wonder Jesus says he'd never fuck you. Your enemy forever, Lori McBride. Below the letter were stick figure drawings scrawled in crayons. On the bottom left was the stick figure of Gale on the bed, cartoonishly crying while exclaiming, "I'm trash, Jesus! I'm just a selfish, no-good little girl. I don't deserve an orgasm." She was being dildoed by a stick figure Lori, drawn with horns and a devil tat, who smiled and said, "I won't finish until you do." My hands shaking as I finished the letter. I rolled over as much as I could in this tiny suffocated space pod and puked all over Clock. Exhausted, defeated, and demoralized, with some of us now covered in puke, we remain helplessly adrift in space with nothing and no one left to rescue us. Our salvation cannot arrive a moment too soon. We are in urgent need of your help. Your husband, Brent Spiner. Well, okay, we'll go to the Skype transcript with Zach in just a moment. But yes, surprise! It was Lori all along. Who would have seen that coming? Ow! Sorry, I hit myself. Sorry. But anyway, yeah, let's we'll go back. We'll go to one of the videos in the Emugens in the the Moonxico saga. And as always, I'm in the whoa. The Moonxico. Yeep. Yeep. All right, let's go to the next one on the playlist. Now here, she's talking about the in this next video, she's talking about the sentient taco and burrito attack. So we're gonna hear it straight from Gail's lips, everyone. Empress Gail, ladies and gentlemen. We can't really call her President Gail because she's no longer the president. More on that later.
We've got a bit of an emergency here. What happened is Bill Nye showed up and he created a shield that covered Mexico and transformed the Bukkake into burritos and tacos. And it was feeding all the Mexican people. And they were eating the burritos and tacos and they tasted good, but it also created two giant evil sentient tacos and burritos. And they have started eating the Mexicans and are attacking Church of Gail. The church is trying to go do something like go through the sun or something, but we need more scientists to help Bill Nye, because Bill Nye actually came up with the shield, but he thinks that the Jesuits he thinks that the Jesuits decalibrated his quantum subharmonic actuator and caused the shield to create this giant taco and burrito that's following Church of Gail right now, trying to eat them. But at least they got it away from the poor Mexicans, but it's hot on Church of Gail's trail. We need scientists. Email us at gailcordschuler@gmail.com. The link will be underneath this video. The tacos are shooting at their communication array, so I may lose Terrance. I'm in the middle of the Skype with him. The shield turned the Bukkake into tacos and burritos, and we had won, but apparently the Jesuits sabotaged the shield, and
I like the ones that are mostly hard. I like the tacos that are mostly hard, but they've still got that soft taco spot. Those are the best tasting ones, I think.
Scientists try contacting gailcordschuler@gmail.com, and so just we need some help. This is an emergency, okay? And also Barack Obama, if you're listening to me, Church of Gail is being attacked by a giant sentient burrito and taco. So.
All right. So, Horse Apple says, by the way, I changed. It's a Wings from Redemption thing, huh? Oh, nice. I love all tacos, all of them. But I had some Dorito. You know, I don't like Taco Bell like at all. Like taco time forever, but I will definitely suck a dick for a Doritos Locos taco. Especially with like, yeah, you haven't put on some Chipotle sauce. Oh God. Shit's like crack. Nope. Heretic. Taco time is the way. It is the truth and it is life. TMWD. I have no idea what that acronym means. I'm Gen X, you guys. I don't know. I'm not familiar with all the lingo. But oh man, I'm so sorry. No, they're chimichangas or they're bomb. Or they're quesito burritos. Hell yeah. Anyway. Going back to the emojis. All right, so we got a Skype with Zach Knight at 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. Jesus Christ, a 9-hour Skype. We might be here a while, guys. Hope y'all brought a drink, maybe something to eat. Zach at 1 p.m. Are you there? Gail, 1 p.m. Yep. I need to go get my laundry. I'll be right back. Did you check your email? And Gail, it appears Brent's email didn't go through. This is all I got. Looks like my last email before the attack just sent. It was a disaster. Brent sent you the details. Zach, what disaster happened? Oh, never mind. It's a Gmail. I'll read it now. Zach at 1:30 p.m. So cramped in here. Gail, I'm still reading. Let's all pray and ask Jesus to give us the Church of Gale spaceship that was destroyed in our battle with Angelina Ballerina. I will pray right now. You all join me. Lord Jesus, you can rescue us. We need the Church of Gale spaceship, Lord Jesus. The one that Angelina Ballerina destroyed, or one that will defeat Laurie McBride's Cumstar. I got an idea. How about like you guys like launch like a bunch of smaller like Jesuit ships at it? Like they could have like wings that are shaped like letters in the alphabet, and there could be like a crack in the Cumstar that you got to fly into. Like maybe shoot some spermicide torpedoes into some kind of reactor. Maybe there's 2 reactors and they're like really low inside the ship, and you got to like. Anyway, I've been cleaning my apartment like Jesus said, and I'm not sure I made Jesus cry. I'm still praying. Let me write out the prayer, and you all pray with me. Dear Lord Jesus, my men are in dire need of protection right now. Laurie has them cornered and can kill them at any moment. Please, if you can, give us the Church of Gale spaceship and one that has been upgraded and that can defeat Laurie's Cumstar. If not, give either me or one of my men wisdom over how to deal with this horrible situation Laurie's put us in. You know she's full of crap, and I ask you to take her out. You promised that I and my men would defeat the Jesuits, and I believe you, Lord Jesus. Are you still alive, Zach? I'm going to read the letter in a YouTube video and ask the world for help. Zach. Zach says, I'm here. We're floating in escape pods and we need assistance. This might require one of your YouTube videos to ask anyone with launch capabilities and spaceships to come help us. Maybe read the letter first and then ask anyone who can help us to contact Gale's men. And after that, in the video, you should set the record straight on that letter Laurie sent. Laurie is so evil. Almost everyone is dead. Gale says, oh no! Who's still alive? Where are you located? Brent heroically saved all the $25 patrons, and the other top men escaped. So, all my cabinet members died? Zach, I'm in an escape pod with Rule 13. Your only patrons aboard the fleet were the $25 patrons. And then Zach goes on. I don't think a lot of your cabinet were on the Church of Gale ships, but at this point, the cabinet doesn't matter. Our fleet was the most advanced technology and military power we had. We were sitting ducks until we get back to Earth. I verified your cabinet. We're all in Washington, D.C., but all of the Zach Knight Jesuits are dead, and all the regular Church of Gale crew. We have casualties in the millions. The only people who survived were your top men and patrons. My legs are cramping up. This escape pod is so tight. My penis is all the way in Rule 13. Gale at 2:23 p.m. I'm processing the video now. I have to do that or it takes 2 hours to download to YouTube. I'm still praying. Hold on, Zach. Be brave. Gale at 2:30 p.m. I'm going to make brain-to-brain loving with all of you while we wait for help. Mostly caresses. I'm multitasking. I'm processing it at a little lower quality to make it go fast. Processing should be done in around 16 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm praying and asking Jesus to protect all of you. And then Gail at 2:55 p.m. It's uploading to YouTube now. Should be uploaded in around a minute. Zach at 5:25 p.m. We're getting lots of messages from the various space agencies. It looks like they're going to mount a rescue mission. Gail. I'm in prayer. Has Lori killed any more people? Zach. We'll need to last until Friday. No, she left. It looks like your $25 patrons will be attending the hangout from the escape pod. And then Zach said, I found that our legs don't cramp if I bounce Rule 13 on my penis. Gail. Oh my goodness. Zach. It helps the circulation. I told the other pods the same. Gail. Do you have your apps to send your poop out to space? Instruct the space agencies to transport your pods food and water. Zach. I think the homosexual patrons will be comfortable putting their penises in each other's butts to fit more comfortably. And yes, we have the iPoop app. And we have replicators. Gail. That's going to be a blessing now. Can you use it to transport urine out to space as well? Zach. Yes, we have some soda bottles we can pee in and transport out. Gail. Wonderful. Is there a way to transport Brent's vomit from his pod out to space? Zach. The men are replicating board games to keep their spirits high. Yes, but they had to take off the vomited clothes. So at least it's easy for them to put their penises in each other now. Be right back. And Gail at 5:33 p.m. Lori arranged for my Skype to require an update last night, and I had to update it today, and that may have blocked you for a while. Thank God I heard from you at 2 p.m. or 1 p.m. It appears Satan worked with Lori to get you and me distracted about bed bugs. That's where the bed bugs come in. But fortunately, I figured out the problem was contact dermatitis and got around 5 to 6 hours of sleep last night. Enough to have enough of my wits about me to deal with this emergency. I'm glad I decided to put the foams back on my bed so that I got some sleep. I guess you all will be really tired on Friday. I know I wouldn't be able to sleep if I was in your shoes. I'll keep you in my prayers, though perhaps some of you who can sleep sitting may get some rest. Zach says, yeah, that's the plan. Oh, well, what kind of soap was in your pillowcase? And Gail says, oh, just ivory and Neutrogena fragrance-free. Zach says, okay, that could have been it. As a powder? Gail, well, the soap is about 2 years old and there was a hole in the pillowcase. I'm not that worried about bed bugs, but I think Satan and Lori planted that in your minds as a distraction. Often when an enemy attacks, they like to get you distracted so you won't focus on mounting a defense. And then Zach at 6:48, yeah. And then Zach says, I'm going to try to sleep. Today was just too much. Gail says, yeah, good idea. I'm getting ready for bed too. Yeah, I'll do some brain-to-brain loving with all my men. I assume the main ones are alive. Zach says, so much death. Yes, the main ones are alive. Gail, yeah, this will be a Romans 8:28, Zach. Believe it. Jesus will work it out for good. Zach, I really hope so. It seems so hopeless. Gail says, Jesus hasn't deserted us. He has a plan and a YouTube video, apparently. Which Zach is playing now, and you know what? Naturally, we're going to play it too. Let's see what it is. Oh, it's just a song. Never mind. We don't need that. We already have a song. Zach is playing the song now. And then Gail says, I'm going to pray and ask Jesus to find a playlist for you and the men. And then Gail at 8:02 p.m. says, I like this playlist. And I already clicked on that, and that's actually my 80s, 90s industrial mix. So it's a great playlist for rest. And inserting your penis in people so you can fit better in a space pod. Zach at 8:05 p.m. picked one for Brent and the patrons. Let's see what he picked there. Let's see what this playlist is all about. Oh, more gospel music. A shout to the Lord. Shout out for my homie Jesus. Guru, hey. And as I said earlier, As I currently as I said, yeah, my week is almost over. I've got one more day left, and holy shit, I just want to blow it up. I just want to blow my job up. Not because I hate my coworker. I love my coworkers. They're actually really awesome, and I actually really like our management. But it's getting so fucking stressful that I just people are starting to lose it. People are starting to lose it at my job. Anyway, let's go back. Okay, and then so Gail responds to Zach's playlist choices with beautiful. Prayer with praise is a powerful combination. God often works miracles when we do that. This Bible passage seems appropriate. I don't know what Bible passage it is, but I'm sure it's like Ezekiel 17:21 or something awesome. Good night, my brave men. Jesus won't let us down. Zach at 8:14 p.m. Shit. All of our replicators went offline. We're going to need whoever rescues us to bring food. And Gail at 8:15. Is this true for all the men or all who are left alive? Well, Gail, honey. The men who aren't left alive aren't going to really need food because, well, they're not alive. And not alive things don't necessarily eat. Unless they're zombies or vampires, undead. Anyway, can you email them to let them know, and perhaps they can use transporter technology to give you some food in the meantime? Zach, all of the replicators are offline. The systems weren't intended to run this long. Life support will last, but we are vulnerable. We don't have any propulsion systems, no weapons. And then Gail said, why are they waiting till Friday? Zach, they're going as fast as possible. Gail, oh, you guys are really far out. And you're groovy and radical too, Zach. I think she means distance-wise, but you know what? I'm gonna go with I like my thing better. Zach at 8:20 p.m. says, the best we have now is the space technology that the public knows about. No, we're orbiting the moon, but that's really far away for basic rockets. I don't know all the details, but a launch company that does space transport missions can be here Friday. And then Gail, don't the Chinese have more advanced space technology? What about the Russians? Zach says, I think we're using whoever was able to get here first. And if I may interject, as somebody who's actually done like some cursory study of the various space programs, the Russian space program is still pretty much held together by duct tape and prayer. So, yeah, there's a reason we use our rockets to launch to the ISS. And then Gail says at 8:28 p.m., hey, maybe send an email to the following space agencies. The United States World Space Agency. The Space Force wasn't around at this time, so otherwise I'm sure they would have contacted the Space Force as well. And then, but Zach says, concedes, hey, that's a pretty good idea. Maybe one's closer. We just asked our allies. Gail goes on at 8:29 p.m. It's possible Lori is blocking some of the space agencies from YouTube, and they aren't aware of your predicament. Ascended all of the space agencies from YouTube? Damn. Lori's good, you guys. Send an email in their language to their sites. Zach, I will, but then I'll go to sleep. I am so exhausted, and you can only bounce inside Rule 13 for so very long before she gets sick of your shit and just decides to make the penis explode. Gail at 8:43 p.m. Here are emails to various space agencies. Emergency, millions dead. Need to rescue some people orbiting around the moon, and we've got a video for that. The Immunogency, which we actually have already seen. So, well, we haven't seen it yet.
Floating through space as if drifting on the waves of the starry ocean, almost as if it had a life of its own. It seemed intended for our pod. Deeply curious, I had to know what was inside it. With trepidation,
But yes. Hang on. All right, and then she said that in Chinese simplified, Chinese traditional, and then German, which, you know what? We're going to try to read that, even though I don't speak a lick of any of these languages. Notfall! Millionen Tote! Okay, emergency, millions dead. Wir müssen einige Menschen retten, die den Mond kriechen. I really need to brush up on my Einstein de Neubauten. So yeah, then there's one in French, which Jean, des millions de morts. Personne de sauver certaines personnes en orbiter autour de la lune. Fucking hell. I'm not gonna try to read the Hindi or Persian or Russian, but yes. She emailed all the world space agencies to let them know that there's millions of dead tacos, burritos, pregnant tacos and burritos, and millions of dead Gales, men, and Jesuits alike. But Gail goes on to say, it may not be a good idea to email all these people. Like, I don't know if we can trust Israel. Just pray and follow your gut, and yes, we need to go to bed. Good night, and I hope you sleep. Rule 13 can do the Japanese one. Zach, agreed. I'm falling asleep. Good night. Hugs. Gail, I agree. Then Zach says, the men really appreciate your brain to brain. Gail, do all the men get to experience Brent's vibrating dildo? Yet another sentence that I had never imagined that I would utter aloud, ever, in any context. Here we are. The gift of Gail. And Zach says, yes, you can enable it. You just have to make it your intention for them to feel it. Gail says, I will do that then. Do you think I should make it bisexual this time? I'll include all who I think are in space pods, including the patrons. Yeah, it might encourage them. You know, I've never actually envisioned Brent Spiner's vibrating dildo until about like 2 minutes ago. But having a clear picture of it in my mind, I definitely find it encouraging. Not the way that Gail might necessarily think, but I'm definitely encouraged for something. Then Zach says, I suppose if it's for healing and encouragement, yes, you have a really big heart. Gail at 8:57 p.m. If they don't want it, we can make it more platonic. Like, like they can do a brain to brain, like going out for coffee with Brett Spiner's vibrating dildo at like a Denny's over a Grand Slam breakfast. I'll try and do that with my mind. Zach says, Clock says he already felt himself becoming more straight. Just gonna let that one linger. Just let that permeate your chakras, little baggies. It's all gonna be all right. Then Gail says, okay, see you all in bed. Good night. Zach says, good night. Then Gail says, it'll be about 5 to 10 minutes. I have to make my bed first. Never mind, the bed's made. And then Gail says, try playing this if you can't sleep. This often works for me. Nice sleep music. It's Nitzareb, isn't it? It's a Nitzareb album. I just know it. Oh. But then we go on to January. Then we go on to January. circle of protection all around you. So be it in the witch's circle. Yes. We need all the protection that we can from the Bukkake. And yes, I absolutely butchered the German and French, but it's okay. You know, we as we kind of take this live streaming journey, we live and love and learn together. Like a really weird, fucked up army. It's really awesome. But anyway, let's continue, shall we? Of course. So, Skype on January 29th, 2021. Gail at 9:18 a.m. says, I haven't been contacting you all because I want you all to sleep. But I have tried to do some brain-to-brain loving. Still praying. Zach at 11:14 a.m. Good morning. Yeah, I had to rest and recuperate. I weirdly slept well in the cramped space. I saw that Nicole lady was LARPing with you. She's tried doing that before, making up fake stuff for attention from you. I went ahead and blocked her because the men have received several false reports from her in the past. Note, Zach was referring to a conversation I had with Nicole at Facebook Messenger. Gail at 11:37 a.m. says, oh, okay, but I already made a video and mentioned her. I'm glad she's wrong because she said some of you would have to be left behind. I just donated a bunch of clothes to Goodwill. The Salvation Army was taken over by Jesuits. And Jesuits are driving like kamikaze drivers on the highway and in parking lots. And they are killing people with the little bells. I'm shooting lightning bolts everywhere, and especially on Laurie McBride and the evil Cumstar. I mostly talked about how it was not Jesus who rejected me as a lover, but I rejected Jesus as a lover because he was a dud in bed. I was trying to find an excuse to reject him, and that's mostly what today's video is about. While out on the road, my prayer to Jesus was, if I do anything to help out those Laurie McBride Jesuits or the bitch Laurie McBride, I want you to kill me. I was shooting bolts everywhere. Laurie McBride is giving me a stinking headache. Do you have water? If you don't have the energy to answer, don't worry about it. I plan to shoot bolts all day. My lightning bolts appear to be working. I keep hearing this in the brain-to-brain. Stop it, you bitch! I also hear screaming and cursing. I'm bolting that bitch to death today. I'm trying to cast her into hell with my bolts. Apparently, that hasn't happened yet. I also direct the bolts to hit every Laurie McBride Jesuit in the universe. I'm also blasting the Cumstar with bolts. I think I've exploded some ships in her space fleet. And then Zach says, we're drinking water that's refiltered from our sweat by the environmental systems. So we have water. Gail says, thank God, you need water. Zach says, it looks like the escape pod with Brent and the patrons is running low on power. Probably because they were only designed for 2 people. I think they need to recharge the power converters. Then Gail asks, can they do that? Zach says, that's not going to be easy for them without Gatorade. And then Gail says, can I direct my lightning bolts to give you all power in any way? I'm going to try and use my bolts to recharge the power converters using my mind. And Gail says, no, that might damage the Jesuit technology. Oh dear. I'll stop then. I'll stop. Zach says, it takes a lot of semen to recharge the power converters. Gail says, your Jesuit technology is not too impressive. Zach said, this would be an easy task for Jesuits. A single Jesuit can power several escape pods by themselves. Gail, did I damage their space pod? Zach, no, but I think because nobody was there was on Laurie's side, they were safe. Jesuit technology is great for Jesuits. Semen-based technology is essentially unlimited energy for them. Then Gail says, well, I'm not impressed with it. I want Church of Gail spaceship number 3. Zach says, I do too, but Jesus has been silent on this. Then Gail asks, where's Trance Jenkins? Zach says, Trance is in an escape pod. He's doing well. Gail asks, when does your rescue arrive? Zach says, it's expected to happen around the time of the hangout, on the Discord, I believe. Gail asks, what happens when a space pod gets low in power? Zach then says, Zach kind of goes on. So you'll be able to encourage everyone as they are rescued. Life support could fail if it runs out of power. I have a lot of experience with semen technology and the human refractory period. The best thing is not to worry them for now. Then Gail says, do you have the ability to create power for them in any way? Oh, they don't know about it? Zach, the transporters are down now, so they'll need to generate the semen themselves. No, they don't know yet. Gail, are they generating the semen themselves now? Zach says, I'll tell them when I see their vital signs indicate that they will have enough semen. Gail says, good idea. Then Zach says, what's that patron girl's name? Lila? Gail says, Lila Morningstar. Zach says, our Jesuit scanners indicate that she is highly skilled at extracting the maximum semen from men. When the time comes, all of their lives will depend on her skills. Okay. Show of hands if this is how if this is like the sci-fi epic you've always envisioned, because it's not, but it's the sci-fi epic that I never knew that I wanted until now. Oh, and Fantastic Planet. Hi. Shit, this is how Jesse cured people's gay. Oh my god, guys. We need to introduce Jesse to the Church of Gale. We can make the world better for everyone. I don't know though. I think I kind of see Jesse's more of a Laurie McBride Jesuit. I don't think like she'd be cool hanging out with Zach and Gail and all them. All right, so let's keep going. All right. So Gail then says, tell her to go to town to encourage the men. She has my permission. Okay, we'll let her know when the time is right. And then Gail says, if any pregnancies happen, we'll do abortions. You know, I gotta love a Christian lady in which abortion is not only a pro-choice thing, it's sometimes mandatory. I was worried about causing you all to ejaculate too much and get dehydrated in the brain-to-brain. Is that a problem? Zach, no. All that semen is still in the pods, and I've counted that as part of the fuel we need. You really helped. Gail, I'm glad. I was kind of feeling guilty about that. I've had a horrible headache since about 2 a.m. It sort of comes and goes and gets worse when I do lightning bolts. Zach at 1:20 p.m. You likely saved their lives. You're even better than Lila at making men ejaculate. But Lila has the advantage of being there in person to be a disposable cum receptacle. Gail! Oh, good! How about making brain-to-brain with Brent right now and really turning him on? Zach says, yeah, as long as you tell him not to orgasm yet. He needs to save it up. Then Gail says, how does that work? Zach says, well, when a man is sexually excited and wants to ejaculate but is told not to, his body builds up even more. Gail, is Brent able to get email? Zach, you could make it even more by making Brent watch you perform brain-to-brain sex acts on the patrons of the pod. As long as none of them are allowed to ejaculate, it'll supercharge things for Lila. It's called fluffing. You can tell Lila, I've been fluffing all the men in the escape pod, and it's time for you to finish them. She'll know what that means. And yes, he can get eaten. Gail says, this should help. Have all the men look into this while we do brain-to-brain and instruct them to hold off the ejaculation as long as possible. I might take a new photo since I've lost some weight. Pass it around to all the men in the space pods. Zach, will do. Pass this around to all the men, too. Make sure Brent gets it. I will also send it via MediaFire to galesmen@yahoo.com. Zach says, is it for the $25 patrons, too, or just Brent? Gail, they can see it, too. But for now, keep it private between us and them. Zach, okay. Gail, I'm mainly doing this to get enough semen to keep you all alive. This should work. Zach, I delivered it to them. The $25 patrons have strict instructions to keep it private. Gail asks, how's Brent doing? Satan seems to really know how to get under his skin. And Zach says, his vital signs seem better now that he's watching this video. Gail says, my nude body heals. You mean his vitals were in danger? Zach, he was just under a lot of stress. Gail, stress can kill you. Then Gail says, I haven't been contacting you all because I want you all to sleep, but I have tried to do some brain-to-brain loving. Still praying. Brent, 8 o'clock p.m. I'm here, Gail. Gail to Brent. Hi, Brent. Love you. Don't believe any of Lori's crap. Brent at 8:07 p.m. Wow. I orgasmed my brains out. I've been thinking of my sweet Gail all day and that video you sent. Dear. Oh, shit. A B. We got a B. Yeah, you joined at just the right time. We learned about fluffing. We now know what fluffing is. All right, so let's get some more background on what the fuck just happened to Moonxico, and what about the cum star? Oh, we're gonna talk about the cum star. Don't worry, we'll watch something about that too. But let's get to the sentient tacos and burrito saga.
Okay,
Here, hang on. Let's share that shit. And Sleek the Geek has a really good. Gail is a ray of sunshine in an otherwise bleak existence. I absolutely agree. Like I said, I have been seriously enjoying my trip to the Galeverse. It's been so refreshing after the last thing that we did together. That was, yeah. And I hate to be clickbaity, but there's actually enough Jesse news that it's going to get its own topic. So there's going to be no bonus Jesse news tonight. I do apologize, but I will get back to you guys tomorrow with all of that. And maybe talk about some Gale too. Anyway, we're going to talk about this.
folks, I'm going to tell you what happened to my man at Church Gale. The sentient taco and burrito were on their tail, and they just shut out their communications array. And then I told Terrance to try to go through the sun. So they decided. Terrance ran down the hall to tell Vladimir about my idea of going through the sun, and they went in, but had to fly in a zigzag pattern because the tacos and burritos also went in behind them. They didn't burn, but the tacos and burritos didn't burn, but just got all crunchy, delicious, and fried looking, and kept shooting hot sauce and beans at Church Gale inside the sun. And they were apparently strong enough to withstand the.
Did I tell you I've decided to have a crush on Jesse, Timo? No, you didn't, but you have now. And while I don't believe in God, I'm willing to bend that role for 1 second just to wish that God is. I hope that God is with you in that journey. I have no help for you. There's no help for you. And Mimi, hi Mimi, it's been a while. Hey Lord Baggins, I'm working so I'm unable to stay, but I thought I'd drop by and say hi. Hi. And then I say hi back. Thanks for showing up. You can always catch me on the replay crew. I've got tons of love. I always have love for my replay crew. Anyway, sentient tacos and burritos. Last we heard, they were shooting off hot sauce and beans.
The sun's high heat. It was really hot and bright inside the sun. They were traveling inside the sun just below the speed of light. They wanted to go fast so that they wouldn't lose their shields inside the sun that protected them from the sun's heat.
My mic's cutting out. I don't know if that's video, or maybe me. I don't know, but let's try it again.
And that coronal hole that you've seen in the news at the sun's south pole, that was caused by all this commotion between Church of Gale and the sentient burrito and taco going after them in the sun. And then when the burrito and taco escaped through the sun's south pole, they carried a trail of the sun's radiation behind them that caused the very brilliant aurora
I
borealis,
imagine she
which
was
we
watching
saw
it
over northern
angrily.
Russia at this time. So they felt like they were in the sun a long time because of the time dilation, uh, and they couldn't focus on fixing communications after the burrito and taco took out their communications array. And when they went to the sun, they barely had any shield left and thought for sure they were finished. Just one beam from that giant taco or burrito and they'd be gone. But to their amazement, the taco and burrito seemed to have lost interest in them and headed straight to the moon. And it seems that all Jesuit creations have an obsession with the moon. And
It's a good thing. It's a good thing that the burritos didn't have their pollo asada technology available at the time. Otherwise, shit would have been wrecked.
the men inside Church of Gale thought that the taco and burrito were headed for me. They didn't realize they were going to the moon. So they chased them even to the peril of their lives because their shields were down. And one beam from this giant taco or burrito would have taken them down. So, but even though they left on January the 3rd and didn't return until January the 7th, this was because of time dilation. They went through the sun just below the speed of light to keep from being burnt to a crisp. You cannot do warp speed or quantum tunneling in the sun. Tunneling. It's called tunneling, which apparently corrects the time difference when you travel this fast. I do recall that Terrance Jenkins once told me that when they travel at warp speed, that they have to adjust for the.
Okay. Will salsa appease the sentient burrito and taco? And if so, red or green or pico? I think they might be more of a mole kind of taco and burrito. I don't know though. I I'd have to ask them. The Jessiet. She's a Jessiet.
Time difference, where they'll land on Earth in the wrong time period. So though they were actually in the sun for 4.6421588142617453690430731 seconds, in other words, between 4 to 5 seconds, they actually um,
All the way absurd. Sentient taco baby says, "I want the taco babies," and I'm not. And I'm gonna say like sentient taco baby. Like, is it just me or does that almost sound like an MC Frontalot song? It could be. It could be.
spent about 3 days in there in our time. You cannot do warp speed inside the sun, so they had to travel at just below the speed of light. And because they had to approach the speed of light, time slowed down for them and passed faster for us, which is why it took a few days, when we viewed it from our perspective. They said that they can usually skip time dilation by using warp speed or quantum tunneling, but inside the sun, this was impossible. So you cannot reach the speed of light unless you use quantum technology, which adjusts for the time difference. Because the speed of light is the cosmic speed limit, so that whenever you get near that speed, time has to slow down for you. And Terrance Jenkins gave me a link by Stephen Hawking that explains this very well. I have that underneath this video for those who have questions about quantum technology. And he said this video was correct, except with today's technology, we can exceed the speed of light when we travel. Okay, so it's true. I'm putting my thoughts underneath the previous video. It's true that the taco and burrito got their strength from all living Jesuits. But then they started making babies. The chocolate burrito flew to the moon like they were making love, and they acted like they were making love and made babies. And they renamed the moon Moonxico. Apparently, their new obsession with the moon saved the Mexicans because the burrito and tacos seemed to have changed after they went to the sun. I think that the radiation scientists have changed their programming and caused them to lose interest in eating people. And now their new obsession with getting jobs and colonizing the moon and the earth. They look like a burrito or taco with arms and legs, but the face is embedded onto the burrito or taco. So it's like you see some cartoons. They speak Spanish, like the Mexicans, and refuse to learn English. They've been making babies so fast that they have already colonized the moon, and they created a whole population. We call them Mexicans, who are actually like living Mexicans. So some of them have migrated to Earth and also started colonizing Earth. They ended up taking jobs away from people. Yes, they did.
I really wish you guys could see my face as I'm listening to this. Like, jaw is dropped. Oh, there's an indie PC game that shows what it would be like to go faster than the speed of light. I think it's called the speed of light or faster than light. Huh. I'll have to look that up. If it's on Steam, I'll definitely check it out. But Mike's good now? Okay. It could also be the stream. It could also be the stream itself because, as I've explained before, I'm on satellite internet. And satellite internet, the videos always lag. Unfortunately, that's just kind of the thing. The sound is. Yeah, I gotta figure something out. I think I gotta look up again and see if we actually have like other options out here now. Because when I first moved out here, your options for internet were satellite or dial-up. So then yeah, so satellite and video sucks. Satellite internet it sucks. So my only question though is, with all the Moonsicans doing their thing on the moon, what happened to the Moonanites? Are they still around? Like maybe they could like have a peace treaty or something like that, share technology with the Moonsicans. I'm just saying.
Did this all like within 24 hours because they can multiply so quickly. They took jobs away from people, both Jesuits and non-Jesuits, because they're really good workers and they accept low pay. So a lot of people lost their jobs. Even on Church of Gale, they lost their jobs. Church of Gale has like a Kentucky Fried Chicken janitor jobs and things like that. And then some of them ended up getting on welfare because they had kids and they were using up all the welfare money. So there was nothing left for the humans. And they say, why do they need money? They need money to buy the oxygen and food that they need to survive on the moon. So basically, they came to Earth to earn money.
Oh shit, yo! It's also StreamYards. It sucks if you don't have a good connection. I prefer using Streamlabs. I need to learn how to use it because I've tried it and I've had nothing but problems. Like even getting into like acknowledge that I'm streaming. And somebody got the reference. I hope you can see this because I'm doing it as quick as I can.
To buy oxygen and food for their relatives on the moon. They are organic beings, unlike the Gale android who was all metal and computer. The Gale android didn't need money. They don't need a lot of money. They can survive without air and food longer than us, which is why they were able to chase my head through the sun. But eventually, they do need air and food. So they built a food base. They needed to keep a supply of oxygen and food. So they needed some money. They didn't have money.
Which one was
this
that?
business of stealing everyone's jobs all happened on the 7th. Like I said, they make babies so fast. So all the world leaders got
let's take a bunch of sentient tacos and burritos and then like add GOP talking points to them. Brilliant.
Burrito ended up being a failed Jesuit attack against them. Once they went to the sun's radiation somehow changed their programming. They lost their interest in eating people and started colonizing the world of Earth, stealing everybody's jobs and welfare money, even
Oh
Jesuit
yeah, I
jobs and
remember
welfare.
that. That was when they
So
were doing the thing
this
for
is
the
the
movie,
problem we're
the
having with them.
promotion for the movie,
They're no
and
longer
the Boston
evil,
police
but they're
thought
stealing everybody's jobs and going on
that
welfare,
the
taking
Moonlight
all
thing
the
was a
welfare
bomb.
money away from the humans. And they earn this money to send it back to their families in Moonxico, that's the move. Some of their kids grow up without any work ethic and they join Moonxico today. You gotta remember, Jesuits, even with their creation of clothes, use accelerated growth hormone to grow a baby to adulthood like within weeks. So people had mixed reactions about them. Some people thought that they had the same right to be here if they want to work. Others think they need to set up a fence around the planet, enforce border laws. So they set up a planetary border control and a system for them to come to Earth to legally work. But a lot of them still came in illegally, and we call them illegal aliens. They come in from Moonxico. So they're moving all to Earth from all they're moving to Earth all over except Florida. I'm going to keep them out of Florida to protect me. And they keep making babies and going on welfare. And there's a whole bunch of them like Moonxico. So they had a meeting with the world leaders. The Jesuit leaders that night suggested putting up a shield all around Earth that would keep them out, which uses a quadrilateral spaceship here, which would keep the shield stable. The quadrilateral spaceship here, though, would give back to Zach Knight the ability to put up his website like Crazy Gale Wiki, because that website was powered by computer satellite technology. And once a website is put up that's powered by computer satellite technology, it can only be taken out by taking out all of computer satellite technology. So my men destroyed part the part of the computer satellite technology that controls the internet. And that's how they took out Crazy Gale Wiki in May 2014. But unfortunately,
Is that also how they took out GeoCities? Asking for a meet.
our Church of Gale website also had to be taken down because it was also powered by computer satellite technology. So when my men took down Crazy Gale Wiki in May 2014, they ended up taking out our website as well, which was very sad for them. Um, so Terrence Jenkins thinks it would be hard for Zach to rebuild Crazy Gale Wiki from the bottom up, but anyways, Zach Knight was proposing that we use one of their technologies, it's like a planetary shield that they could build just in case something like the Gale android ever tried to destroy Earth again. He said we could modify it like a big border control fence around the planet, but it needs the quadrilateral spaceship here, which would give Zach Knight the ability to put up one of his bad websites again, which could only be taken down by taking down all of computer satellite technology. Uh, so we'd have to rebuild the part of the computer satellite network we destroyed in order to put up this shield. I propose that we put this big border control fence around the planet where the Mexican food lives, like maybe around the moon, or maybe the food that's on the moon, Pluto, or some other moon or planet in our solar system. And that way it would be safe for us to travel into space and not have to deal with the sentient tacos and burritos in outer space. So this is the latest, folks, okay? Jesus told me to make this video and let you all know what happened to my man with this sentient Mexican food chased them. And this is what happened. So this is the latest. Just want to give you an update and what I've suggested to my man, about. The latest that communication I had with Terrence is I suggested that we put up the shield not around Earth, but around the planet or moon where the sentient tacos and burritos live. So we're dealing with some pretty advanced technology nowadays. Fortunately, my suggestion to tell the men to go to the sun seems to have changed the programming of the sentient tacos and burritos. They say never to expose a computer's hard drive to radiation because it can destroy the hard dried. Well, the same principle lies here. So even though they are organic beings, they are programmed, I guess, with computer technology. And so when they went through the sun and it burned them and made them look like crispy fried Mexican food that didn't destroy them, it did mess up their programming and changed them from an evil being to a benign, sort of like a benign being. So the only problem we have now is they're overpopulating the Earth and the Moon, and we need to erect probably some sort of shield. Granted that this shield that Zack Knight proposed would work, it would keep them from bothering us. We could keep them isolated, keep them off of Earth, but I just felt like it'd be a better idea for the shield instead of putting it around Earth, maybe put it around the moon, or put it around wherever we're doing. This is the latest, folks. And just be in prayer for my dad and ask the Lord to give them wisdom and to direct our thoughts, help us to make the right choices in regard to how to deal with the overpopulation problem and stealing our jobs.
I had a really nice job in the nursing field once, but yeah, it was taken from me by Tacos El Pastor. Horrible day. I've never been the same. I'm with Gail. Like, we need to build a wall around Earth to keep the Moonskins out, or at least let only the good ones in. Yeah, I think this might be getting to be a little bit. I think this might be getting. The burrito is permanently a funny word after tonight. I cook burritos often at my job, and I'm honestly a little concerned now because there's a lot of burritos. We've got a lot of burritos there, and if any of them, like, if one of them goes bad and decides to get some of the more the more easily influenced burritos and tacos to rise up against us, like, there's nothing we can do. Right, the next live stream is going to be, the next live stream I do is going to be controlled by a fucking beef and bean burrito, and it's going to have me being crucified in front of my kitchen. It's going to suck, and I just try to do something. But yes, sentient taco and burrito transformed to become delicious inside the sun, and then they went off to make babies, who then made babies and overpopulated the moon, and now they're coming to Earth to hang out at day labor sites and yeah, but we've got the last video in this in the sentient taco and burrito saga, the Moonxico. Gale's men wrecked in space, millions dead, and that's the one. I believe this is going to be one of the Comstar attacks. The attack of the Comstar. Sorry, I'm slowly figuring it out. It's a process. We have an emergency. War in the drive has destroyed our entire space force. My men are sitting ducks awaiting death. Let me get you a letter from Brett Snyder about what happened. I'm Skyping with Zack Knight right now. All the Zack Knight Jesuits are dead. Here's Gail. Okay. Such a cataclysm of events that transpired over the past few hours. What began as an ordinary day for the man in our Cape Cod. Let's see who did this better. It was a waking nightmare. I have so much to tell you. I'll start from the beginning. So excited. There I was in the briefing room, reviewing our upcoming mission with our $45 here paid on. In our humble little squad, we had paid on John
I
Mm.
just I let them talk. All right, everyone, I began. Did you all read the memo I sent to your email yesterday?
Actually,
The
you know what? I'm
Moonxico
going to skip through
spaceship
this.
is currently you'll really like all the new toys that come through. Well, I hope you got insurance on that big disco ball of yours.
Sorry.
Crater deep into the surface of the moon. This one deeper than the last, filling the core of the moon with laser semen and sending a crack that
I need to hear more about the laser semen, guys.
armed blast. Lori put back her head and laughed wickedly. The head of the ballot cannon opened, its insides glowing with a bright white flame. In one massive explosion, it ejaculated a powerful white beam straight through the center of her spacesuit. The beam completely decimated the entire remains of the Church Gale and Jesuit spacesuits, burning through them like wet paper before beaming down onto Moonxico. The beam blew yet another crater deep into the surface of the moon, this one deeper than the last, filling the core of the moon with laser semen and sending a crack that split straight through the moon itself. Molten semen erupted from every crevice, flooding and impregnating every moonsican on the moon. A somber silence hung heavy in our space pod.
Okay. I think she's reading the letter. Yeah, she's reading.
This might require one of your YouTube videos to ask anyone with launch capabilities. Figure drawing, scrawled in crayon. On the bottom left was a stick figure of Gail
Is
on
it
the
still
bed,
bad?
crying cartoonishly while exclaiming, "I'm trash, Jesus. I'm just a selfish, no good little girl. I don't deserve an orgasm." She was being dildoed by a stick figure morally drawn with horns and a devil's tail, who smiled and said, "I won't finish until you do." My hands shaking as I finished the letter, I rolled over as much as I could in this tiny, suffocating space pod and puked all over the floor. Exhausted, defeated, and demoralized, with some of us now covered in puke, we remained helplessly adrift in space, with nothing and no one left to rescue us. Our salvation cannot arrive a moment too soon. We are in urgent need of help. Your husband, Brett Spiner. Now, let me read what Zach Knight is saying. Okay. He said, "It's so cramped in here." He said, "We're floating in escape pods at 1:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We need assistance. This might require one of your YouTube videos to ask anyone with launch capabilities and spaceships to come help us. Maybe read the letter first, and then ask anyone who can help us to contact Gail and GAILSMEN@yahoo.com. And after that in the video, set the record straight on that letter written up. What happened was Lori took over the brain-to-brain servers, and she impersonated Brent's brain-to-brain, and she claimed to be Brent's mind or possessed by Jesus. And I actually said, "Kick Jesus out." See, I don't want to make love to my intimidated making love to you. I just want to make love to you, Brent. But I felt I was kind of confused about what was going on.
Sorry, Jesus. I love the fact that you look like a 70s Southern rock god, and you sound and you have the dulcet, and you speak with the dulcet tones of Michelangelo from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But Brett is the only man for this girl.
But apparently, what Lori did is she impersonated Brent, and she said that she claimed to be Brent possessed by Jesus. So I was taking love to Brent.
I like how she says Jesus. Like Jesus.
I was actually making love to Lori, who took over the brain servers and impersonated Brent, basically Jesus. And then I later thought maybe that Satan did this, and I said, "I don't want to make love to these Jesus. I said, just kick them out. I'm not interested in making love to so Lori's a big liar, and I only make love to Brent now. I'm not interested in making love to Jesus. So he's a big liar.
She still does brain-to-brain hand jobs with the rest of the men, but it's all platonic. They're platonic hand jobs. Nothing sexual or erotic about it. It's just a thing that happens.
Okay, so Lori Everything is so evil. Almost everyone is dead. Brent heroically saved all the $25 coupons and the other top men escaped. That night in the escape auto with Walker Team, my only coupons aboard the fleet with the $25 coupons and the other dogs somewhere. Zach doesn't think a lot of my cabinet will on the Turkey Field ships. But at this point, the cabinet doesn't matter. Our fleet was the most advanced technology and military power we've had. They are sitting ducks until they get back to Earth. And he verified that my cabinet will all in Washington, D.C. The cabinet needs to get together so they can rescue these people. But all of the Zach Knight does was are dead. And all of the regular
Yeah, until you get a BTD. That's why you got to wear a brain dump.
The only people who survive were my top
Especially if you're having brain to brain with a stranger.
Zach's legs are cramping up and his face on is so tight. And he made room by sticking his penis all the way over the and anybody out there, Bill Nye, if you're out there, like
I just like the way she just matter of factly drops that in there. Oh yeah, you know that guy gets so cramped the escape pod. He had to put his penis in rule 13. Yeah, just an every just a normal Thursday on the Church of Gale.
we've got a major calamity in my bed and Dale at TAIM@MEN@yahoo.com. And they're somewhere out there by the moon.
So yes, we got that, and we're almost when you're running on the 2 hour mark here. So hang on just 1 second. Just kind of scroll up on the big on the letter here. So the next video is it is entitled. Hang on, as I find it again. Here it is. Survivors returning to Earth. Do the Gale commandments. And it's about an hour long, so let's see what happened here.
It's very important for everyone to do the Gale commandments right now. My Gale field is the only thing protecting Earth with Lori McBride comes to us.
I really hope that image doesn't get me copyright struck with Disney.
Almost destroyed the entire Earth. This is a follow-up video. My men have been rescued and they're on their way back to Earth.
Yay!
I have a headache right now, and I believe it's caused by Lori McBride using the Sunstar to attack my Gale field, specifically for the purpose to weaken it and cause it to break down. If that happens, that will the only thing that's preventing Lori McBride from attacking Earth right now and destroying the planet is my Gale field. So everybody, I will have a link to Gale commandments underneath this video. Be sure to do Gale commandments to strengthen my
Okay,
playing the
hang
video
on.
now.
Before we do that, let's take a look at the Gale commandments. I think we need to know what those are so that we can help Gale with the shield here. So let's take a look at those. All right, the Gale commandments. Thou shalt take Seroquel, the medication designed by Jesus, every day as prescribed at the same time every day. Thou shalt eat a balanced diet without concerns about allergens or toxins, using the method of calories in, calories out as a guide to weight management. Thou shalt not toil in activities, even honorable work for the Lord, to the extent that sleep is sacrificed. Set aside at least 8 hours per night for sleep. Thou shalt honor the Lord's temple by taking time every day to self-prove, bathe, brush teeth, and stay clean. Thou shalt honor the home of Jesus' favorite by taking time every day to clean, wipe down, laundry, vacuum, and dust your apartment. Thou shalt go on walks every day, enjoying the day that the Lord has made. Unless you made the day rainy or unsuitable for walks, then exercise indoors with the window open. Thou shalt spend money only if it on food and bills. Being mindful that spending money on a deal or impulse is not saving money if it is to buy more than you need for something you wouldn't otherwise buy. Thou shalt take only one multivitamin and one allergy medication per day. Taking supplements for special foods in an attempt to improve a health condition or alleviate symptoms is off limits. Thou shalt store away a savings of at least $100 every month for the future. Whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows generously will also reap generously. Thou shalt make a YouTube video every week to share the victories, defeats, and daily struggles and joys of your life with your followers. This will serve to archive your life for future generations of tribulation saints. Thou shalt not seek loopholes or ways to work around the Gale commandments, lest baby Jesus poops and pees himself in sadness. The Lord knows the heart. Copyright 2016 to 1621. Jesus Christ, all rights reserved. All right. Well, now we know the Gale commandments. Everybody take your Seroquel. Take your Seroquel and clean your fucking room. Okay.
Yeah, I went to use the restroom. I went to use the restroom. How was it? What, the restroom? I'm a little constipated, believe it or not. And then I had gas today. So
Oh, that's good to know. I'm glad to know that Gale is constipated but gassy. She's not in danger of functioning Bukkakes anytime soon.
This is stir-fried, the root vegetables. Yeah. So, at least I can eat, I feel bad. I feel like that is part of my food. They don't have any normal food.
We got the replicator just back up.
Did you really?
All the we're not ready.
Make sure you give yourself plenty of water. Oh, you like Gatorade? Oh, good. Okay, that's good. Yeah, do that. Yeah, do the Gatorade.
And you can hear the space battle in the background. I love that.
Gatorade.
Oh no.
Well, if you enjoy it,
But that's
yellow, I get a little bit, I get a little,
In space, sometimes drinking piss is a thing.
if I'm drinking Gatorade, I guess when you get through remember you were in and bottles. You remember?
We're dying of dehydration. Vladimir Putin won't stop drinking all the urine. Ooh. What? Wait, at first he was going to a dentist, I thought. A dentist who is also an eye doctor, works with Lori McBride to put urine in Gail's eyes. I need to know what the plan here is. What was this plan supposed to be? Because let's see, step one, get Gail to dentist slash optometrist. Two, put urine in Gail's eyes. Step three, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Step four, profit. We're missing the step here, Gail. Like me. Yes.
Come this way. This way. Yeah, it is.
I had no idea that Taco Bell had its own space program. Taco Bell has a space program. Did you hear about the Moonskins? Okay.
Oh, you're right. We're going back to Earth. It should take maybe a few more days, but they'll be on like a luxury. Yeah, we'll be on a luxury.
Oh, I want to see her shoot lightning bolts. No. I want to see the lightning bolts.
Imagine it's free. Wait, do we get to eat tacos and burritos?
I kind of imagine like Gail like like charging up her chi and shit, and like she starts screaming like ah, and then like she explodes into light, and like her hair turns blonde, and she gets like blue eyes. I watch a lot. I watch a lot of anime.
Everybody get free tacos? Okay, well, we know that. All right, all right. Hey, Doctor, they're pulling your chip in, or your key button, and you're going to be able to get in there first.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
They're prioritizing you.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. I hear over the intercom you're going to have. They got quite a surprise for you. Wow, look, they got a mariachi man.
Oh God!
I'm going to teach you the rules, though. I did not play a video, but I'm going to teach you and play shows. Everything. I just want to let you know. Yeah, the Moonxico, they're helping all the got Prince Spider, they're helping them out of the pod. All right, now they're pulling us in. Okay, here we go. Okay. Yeah, wow, okay, here we are. Okay, we're all out of the state pod. Oh, wonderful. So then you kind of like transport me to a board, and now you're surrounded by oxygen and you're on the transport vehicle? Yeah, yeah, we're just out here on the path here. You guys, the mariachi band playing right now, but Moonxico. I know you can roll food now. Yeah, they just brought out a big plate. We got a bunch of tacos, and yeah, they do. They have some Mexican beer. Now, I thought you didn't like Mexican food that night. Yeah, I haven't, I think we're all ready to eat. Yeah, we've been cramped up for a while. So. Well, that's wonderful. It's kind of like a meal, though. You got to think about like the veal or the lamb chops. Yeah. Now, which men on my marriage was are alive? It's all the main men. National McConaughey, Keanu Reeves, Hugh Jackman, Grant Jenkins, Vladimir Putin, Gerard Butler. Did I miss anybody? I think you did Keanu. Yeah. Yeah, I think you got everybody.
Someday, Gail. Someday you're gonna make room on that list.
Everybody else fine.
Yeah, we lost pretty much everyone. We lost a lot of people.
Everybody else on the derrick was fine.
Yeah, except for the ones that he accepted with the.
What about Daniel Fox?
Oh yeah, Tosh, but he actually wasn't on the ship. He was in the studio. Yeah, apparently they lost their contract. So yeah, with Comedy Central or whatever. So looking for a new. I was actually talking to Eric Kelly recently about that. Yeah, she fucked with his contract. There's so many. We have to go through the list.
How many people are on her marriage list?
Yeah. He's got his music going.
Yeah.
That's the mariachi. That's great. I'm actually having a party now. It's actually great.
Oh, that's great. I'm so glad. And Gordon,
Yes, Muhammad. Empress Gail.
No, we're fine. Tacos and burritos. Maybe, I don't know. It could be that the Gale show was pretty active. I'm not sure.
It's a hard job she's got. Being the president, the empress. I mean, sorry, ex-president.
But these are Moonxico, so they are.
Yeah.
I usually don't like this type of music. I'm dead. I like it because I'm alive.
That's right.
I'm eating taco burritos.
I had it Robert endorsed me, so I can eat them too. Yeah.
Dude, I don't even have to wear shoes to eat tacos and burritos.
People useless, like useless life like that can be converted into something that's not the burritos. Yeah, there's definitely some kind of value.
Now that I think about it, one of my favorite foods from the 1990s is burritos. Maybe I'll make that as a celebration. Maybe a couple of weeks.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I just really make an authentic Mexican stuff on the regular American I'm going to find the recipe though, because I lost it. But the very most garden is 1981. Oh, I love it, Tony. Don't be taking some of that. Italian food is great. It's delicious.
Gail, we've been thinking about something, and we've been talking about it, and we're not sure if it would be too much work, but we were thinking that it might be fun for you to build a second YouTube channel where it's like cooking with Gail. If they can monetize that, because I think that YouTube's not monetizing the current channel.
Obvious reasons.
But I don't know if we want. Yeah, unless you get something you might want to do if you're interested in doing, especially if you're already making cooking videos. Yeah, that might be fun. We have to get you a nice intro after a while too. We'll start it off with just what you got, and then we can start like a cooking with Gail intro or something.
Hey, I'm glad to do it. And sorry, unfortunately, about my internet.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of trouble lately, but I think
which explains why I've been like recurringly having brain-to-brain sex with Don Knott.
all because of that. Sure, she's a bitch. I don't know if he has.
Yeah.
Are you actually from Italy? They will sing our songs for days. I used to do that though. I even made my own pasta for a while. Well, I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Oh yeah.
I used to use Gorilla all the time, but now I just get the wall. Yeah, I was really not into the business.
almost seems normal in that. I'm liking this because, like, it's nice to see that she can like hold a conversation with somebody that isn't like that shit insane stuff about cum stars and bukkakes. It's a nice glimpse, and I actually really appreciate it.
A lot of people don't really, it's easy to say someone's good at something, but no kidding, anybody who's ever had Yale food has said has been like pretty close. It's like a legitimate, like Nobel Prize level kind of cooking.
I really, I actually bought it at time northern Italian, authentic northern Italian. You remember? Yeah, I know. It's Sicily. The reason I did that is because that's how I tried to.
Franco Nero, you mean 60s and 70s Italian heartthrob, Franco Nero. That's pretty cool.
And yeah, they're more
And spaghetti western legend.
See, you can tell. You can tell I said that they're food for dairy. So, like, they're particular cheese and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I spent a couple of summers with a couple of brothers named Mario, and yeah, they taught me some stuff. I can only make stuff out of turtles, but I know my Italian.
That's true. Yeah, you're Italian, but you're Neapolitan. Now I know my American dish. Oh no! Oh no! You know, I understand. But now it's like it's just really tired.
He ran off with pretty good pace.
Oh no! Do they have anything else that might agree with it better?
Nose candy.
Okay. Do they have those too? Okay, yeah. Oh, they have replicator on that shit?
We have it hooked up to their power to be escaped.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and Moonxico forward without the bird.
Moonsick can come will work in the power diverter. I like how you're just having a nice, normal conversation, and then all of a sudden, just Zach just goes ahead and just drops that right in the middle there. Yeah, Moonsick can come. It's great for the power converters.
We ran out of power.
I had a little bit of a bout of diarrhea before, but
That's not Gatorade. Real Gatorade? Thank you very much. Need more options.
And Zach must be thirsty having to bounce his penis inside Rule 13.
Yeah, we're going to take us a couple of days to get back. Really? Yeah, they really find them sleeping in the sidewalk and, because they get tuckered out, they have to have that siesta. Yeah, that's autonomous. we don't want to give them the Moonxico the ability to fly Earth on their own. You know, yeah. Well, I mean, you're partying with Moonxico, so you're not able to see anyone flying the ship because on Earth. Yeah. Yeah, we built the wall around the moon to keep them from getting in. Yeah, the only way off that moon there is ever talking about food stable or as one of the talking about food stable processes. Well, if the Moonxicans want to emigrate, they can do it legally. Yeah. Yeah, not just any Moonxican. Yeah. Skill, they got to contribute. So how are the other men doing with the Mexican food? Everyone's fine. Everyone likes Taco Bell. It's just Brett has had it yeah, very more simple diet. They're very spicy food. You know, I think if you're building food, I like it.
Yeah, because that's the problem with Taco Bell. It's just too spicy.
Just don't drink the water if they have water. That's what happened to Brett. Yeah, the water is not. Oh, really?
It looks like some kind of macaroni pasta thing.
Why does the water do that? Did it contaminate it? Yeah, I'll rinse the water stuff. It's got microbes and stuff. You know what? I think Brett's the worst thing. Okay, let me Brett's machine. I'll be right back.
Red Spider has diarrhea. Quick, Zach, give him your Jesuit X Antichrist semen. Surely that'll fuck Pepto Bismol. I mean, am I right?
That'll kill the germ.
Oh my!
All but your
Broken.
start making her brain control powers more powerful. I think it is.
Jesuit semen, global panacea.
Fusion ray or something. Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, Jesuit semen is basically the X potion from Final Fantasy.
No, it is. It's probably like it's like
Her brain clearly lifts.
you know what happened was killing people and making people sick.
Look, I think I might be Laurie McBride. Da, 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 da.
I can destroy Gale right here. Right. I'll take care of his destruction. That's right. He sucks, man. He's terrible. Lorraine and I came up with an idea before hopefully happens. And the first thing is we're gonna kind of money.
Yeah. Yeah, that would help.
Sorry. No, I just took up food.
Oh. They're so hungry, right?
He choked on babies.
But okay. I'm just curious. If making my videos help you, I mean, I get the thing because they need to know that you're brand is right?
Yeah, I got it.
I've got to stop buying rhinoceros horn and million powder and find myself a Jesuit. Stat!
I think I
make the video that they give me a put it their video, right?
Yeah. They had very limited power.
Right. So basically, I need to work with my emergency life. If I hadn't done that, then they wouldn't have sent the visitor first. Yeah.
I'm so relieved right now because I'm starving and
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a total dick move, Lori.
I don't blame you. It's getting, I actually plan on finishing at 9 o'clock. So we're almost there. It's 8:37 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right now.
hours.
Oh, man. And you would be able to sleep in that. So I know, I would rather sit up forever. Because I don't like sleep. I would be able to sleep about 30 minutes.
Our 20 minutes back.
Oh, man. You need to go to bed, man. Do they have beds for you there?
They have cots. They weren't that prepared. We have a cot. Yeah, no, if I was very with you, this is
Yeah, but they're really good. They have a
yeah, oh yeah. This is true.
Yeah, they can sleep.
I mean, guy, he's used to this time. But he's been able to party for that's, for me, I'm used to time zone. I was on church jail, and I used to that time zone. And now, I'm just straight.
Yeah, you can I was averaging about 6 hours, maybe 7 if I'm lucky. Because you can snack it with me, that's better than what you do. Yeah. But you can do it. Hey.
Oh God! And can you imagine? Seriously though, can you imagine can you imagine the kind of jet lag you'd get on the Church of Gale? I mean, it's flying through space. It kind of defies gravity, and we kind of use gravity to measure time, i.e., the rotation of the Earth or the completion of a full orbit, stuff like that. How the hell do you even tell time in space? I mean, you can use like watches and stuff like that, but at some point, like, it's gonna take a toll on your body, man.
That. I think I'm sure that they know that you might not have to. And it's like, you know, all of a sudden,
Otherwise, we just need to like top off.
and all of a sudden, now that you guys are resting, my headache. That's weird.
Take your Seroquel and go out for a walk. Otherwise, Lori McBride will destroy us.
How do you know you can't talk to you? You think it's my deal too?
It has, otherwise we'd already dead.
No, I think the lore needs to expand more into the Moonxican cartels. No. You just can't let something like Moonxican cartels drop and then just not have any follow. Give me something.
I don't know. Did you hear what they did to the moon? What Lori McBride did to the moon? Oh, she's got a pretty powerful strap.
She did million.
Yeah, they know it. She aimed away, right? And went to the floor of the moon. And a bunch of left down the hell ground.
At least 6 rows.
Yeah, she's a, that contraption versus almost as big as the moon. Really powerful.
Oh, the Sun thing?
Yeah, it's huge. And it's very powerful. In fact, I think she's using it right now to give me a headache.
Okay, can anyone hear her?
No, I don't think this is a stress headache, because if it was a stress headache, my headache would be getting better because you guys are rescued.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's getting worse, I think it's coming from Lori McBride. Flintstones and
You should sure you can that
They should make
bitch.
a Moonxico memorial to remember all the poor Moonsicans that died in this Moonxico.
I think she knows you guys are rescued. Because my headache.
There's Jesuit interference in the call. No.
What is that?
We're rescued, so you get a headache. It makes sense. Like I'll go straight and see answer. Usually the right answer.
Well, you would think that if you guys were rescued, my headache would go away. So it has to be Lori McBride, because I'm not going to be stressed out that you guys are rescued.
Exactly.
Yeah. The
You
one,
should be feeling relieved right now.
the one who's stressed out is Lori McBride. She's taking out her stress on me. Oh, that bitch.
You live to fight another day.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill her, man. At least make her miserable. Get Lori McBride, get lost. Get off of my brain, you bitch. Yeah. She's a bitch, man.
There will be a revenge of the perfect penises.
She has Antichrist power. You can't kill the Antichrist. They've actually tried. They have decapitated her, and her head just rolled around, and it popped right back on her head.
I don't know. I haven't gotten that far in the lore yet.
No, it isn't cool. You can't kill her.
I mean, not that she can do it. Lori McBride is the equivalent of Medusa. Like if David Copperfield.
Yeah, I don't. The problem is,
Wait, so the Antichrist can't die? So then Zack Knight really wasn't like risking much when he ordered the Jesuit fleet to kamikaze into the Gale Land. Because he was still the Antichrist at the time, I believe. Somebody is more into the lore, correct me if I'm wrong.
she thinks she's invincible because she's got Antichrist powers. The Satan gave them to her. Right now, the only thing that can take her out, I think, is to lose her father.
Like her power is like the people who need her.
That's right. In other words, she can't be an Antichrist if she doesn't have a following. So I think if we could take out all her following, then she might lose her Antichrist. That's my theory. I could be wrong. Jesus hasn't really gone into a lot of detail about why it is that
You need to organize like some type of gathering, like a get together or a convention. You can hold it like in a big venue, like maybe like an amphitheater or a mall. Malls are pretty empty now. I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could fit enough people in there. Yeah, you get set up like something call it boring, right? So you build this convention and you get all of your following cooped up into like a small like arena, and then you blast them off into the fucking sun. I mean, we need to get on this.
He's
It's a
mysterious.
good theory, though.
That's my
That
theory.
sort of coincides with like a shared consciousness kind of theory that goes along with we manifest things to our own reality.
Well, because that night actually got his Antichrist powers back right after we did it in Arena. And I think it's because at that time the opposition did not have a following. But once Lori McBride got a following, she ended up with the Antichrist powers that time wrong.
Oh, okay.
That's the reason I think that if she ever loses the following, she'll lose her Antichrist powers. But I think she's cloning at such a rapid pace that she's making sure she always has a following. So she can keep her Antichrist powers.
The clones, they don't have souls, so maybe there's something, another element that.
I think they do have souls. What makes you think they don't have souls?
Because if you're a clone of something, you're a clone of. So is the original soul split up, or is the?
No, I think they have souls. I think they have souls. Because there are some clones that are going to go to heaven, and some that will like we save the rest. What are the rest? I don't know. He's probably going to end up going to heaven.
Question for Jesus.
He's probably going to end up going to heaven. I think some clones are going to go to heaven. Well, we've got clones on our side, and yeah, so yeah, it's a most of the Lori McBride
I could
clones.
be wrong.
Most of the Lori McBride clones are bad, but we've had a couple of them that have come over to our side. What they do.
Wait, did we just like stumble into some like grand discussion over the clones, over the souls of clones? Huh. Mind blown.
Is they find a man who's compatible with them and they go off and marry them and they don't have any problems for us. But Satan has warned that most of the Lord make life up for that. Then of course he makes sure to make love to her and make sure that stays. Because he knows she's a very proud, egotistical woman and he flatters her all the time. It works good.
All vegans are egotistical.
Vegan? She's a vegan?
Oh, are they? She is a vegan.
Oh, I didn't know she was a vegan. Oh, you mean in mine? No, I think that was coming from my brother.
Oh.
Yeah. You know what?
Just crotches. They do that sometimes.
You know what? There are a lot of women that try to with around me. Apparently, they know you guys are frustrated and they're frustrated because they don't feel wanted. Yeah. In fact, maybe that's why I'm getting a headache because she's trying to ram the Gale shield. Maybe she's hitting it with that ray because she's trying to get it to you guys. It could be the ray. She might be hitting my Gale shield with that ray for her contraption, try to break it so that she can get through it. Because I think if she tries to get through it now, a bunch of her followers die. I think my Gale shield is repelling, and maybe repelling her Sunstar and her space weight, so she can't get to you guys. That might explain the headache.
Kudos to her for being able to say the word "star" while keeping a completely straight face. Props. Give her a hand.
Because she's probably hitting it with bombs and stuff, trying to break it. But Gail still, I think it's going out to make sure she doesn't fall.
out like a cone, which is flying inside the cone shape.
Oh, like Yeltsin?
Yeah, like the shield is coming out like a signal, like a cone that's amplifying outside. And we're just flying in between that cone.
You know, I don't know what's going on with my Yeltsin. I know that during the time when we were fighting Zach, my dad was expanded into space. And Zach was hoping that because that's a real strain on my body, that he could when he first became the ex-Antichrist, one of the things he told me is try not to use your jail shield to protect the universe, which is strange. And he asked me if I was getting like migraine headaches and stuff, and I said no. He said, well, that was part of our plan, was to try to get you to use your jail shield to protect the universe so that we could take you out. By getting you like we thought we could break it because by shrinking it and stuff.
Wearing you too thin.
Yeah, so I think that's what Lori's trying to do right now. I don't know how far out my jail shield is, but she is succeeding in giving me a headache. So, you know, it was worse at 2 in the morning when I started hitting her with lightning bolts and swing stones. I can actually launch them from my jail shield.
Well, that's good. Because the last thing we want is lightning bolts and sling stones like bouncing, ping ponging
I mean,
back and forth
do you
between
have
the
the
earth and the
technology to see
shield.
what my jail shield is doing right now?
This place doesn't really have a lot of windows in it.
No, I don't think
Yeah, we
can,
don't.
I don't think you can see it.
Yeah, we don't have the means to detect it right now.
Yeah, that requires pretty advanced technology. It requires pretty advanced technology, which was all that
I bet the cum star is chilling out somewhere near Uranus.
spaceship that's designated. Or space free.
I'm trying to be polite here, but the spaceship smells. It's rusted everywhere. It has drooping ceilings. It's not a nice place. Yeah, better than the skate pod.
That's true. I'm sure you'll be driving you back to Earth. Yeah, Lori McBride knows
It's shaking in just enough ways that I'm concerned that we may not, but I think it's
that night. Is that possible? They won't make it back.
I think these guys are just not used to being around beaners.
Oh, Jesus, Zach.
Yeah. See, like, I want to be worried. I've been around.
Yeah. I mean,
I've had to go to Mexico for like friends. Yeah.
I'm just a little
probably
concerned
rickety.
that they fix things with duct tape around.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the way they are, man.
Yeah. I don't think I want.
I mean, if they were skilled people, they would have been accepted into our society. So.
Try the pizza. Those are actually good.
Yeah, try the tri food.
But try it. It's good.
But it's not like made of nuts.
How is Brett doing right now?
It's good.
Did your semen fix him, Zach?
Yeah, he's just taking a little bit of a nap now.
Oh, I don't blame him. He's probably exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I think I'm going to do is I'll get off in about 10 minutes, and I'm going to let you all go to sleep.
I think that's a good plan.
Yeah, you all go to sleep, and
Willa and I are gonna share a bed tonight. Yeah, should be all good.
oh yeah, so whatever works, you know.
He's calling dibs on Willa.
Hi, come on, aren't you gay?
I'm opportunistic.
Right, so you're bisexual.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Lila did us all a big favor.
She might even prefer.
I bet.
Yeah. Alright. Yeah, Lila didn't get on. Is she okay?
Oh, she's just so exhausted.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
actually have her over my shoulder. I'm gonna take her into the bedroom.
I don't blame it. So I'm gonna let you all go in about 10 minutes, and I think that once I get off, I'm gonna put on my I don't know. I don't know, Lord Jesus. Do I need to? I think I'm just gonna go ahead and shoot some lightning bolt videos. I don't know. I don't know if they work when I fall asleep.
Oh, Gail, dude, also like throw lightning bolts. Oh, rocking the Slayer. Yeah,
And they
Yeah, I think you probably don't need to stay up for that, Gail. I think you should probably get some sleep too. It'd probably be better for the Gail too.
yeah, maybe with mainly with technical field. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you don't want to stress yourself out trying to make the Gale shield stronger. I mean, best way to do it is just to stay rested. I think you're still working on cleaning your apartment. So, I mean, stuff like that is usually what keeps it. But one of the bad days, we were always trying to get you to stress out and stay up all night and worry about things, and that was the whole point of getting you to overexert yourself to pull the Gale shield.
Aha! Now I think I know what Warren McBride is up to.
Yeah, so just give yourself some good rest.
Yes, I do.
And and if you're putting the apartment, make sure
I think she's trying to get my Gale shield to crash.
Could be it.
Yeah. She's trying to stress me out. I think talking about the bed bugs was part of that strategy. She manipulated you guys to get into that. Notice how she attacked you right after we went on the bed bug issue? That was all part of her plan. She thought, oh, I think the Gale shield's gonna weaken now, and now it'll crack.
Yeah, I think we found out it was a scope. Did you tell everyone about that? I don't think everyone.
Well, the doctor, is John Balfour there, or is he asleep?
Yeah, he's a little he's butthurt.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's not a little butthurt.
Oh, yeah. Oh, his butt hurts?
Yeah, he's a little butthurt.
Oh, is that because they had penis in there?
Yeah, we'll do it for penis, but
Yeah,
That's a good thing we heard at least. For some.
yeah.
he's not used to it.
I see. Well, he should be able to, he'll be better by a couple days, right?
Oh yeah, he'll right of that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad that you all think yeah, so, yeah, okay.
It should take about 4 days for us to get back to Earth.
4 days, okay. So I'll just focus on doing the Gale commandments and all the stuff you just want me to do. Yeah, okay. So he said on Friday I could stay up a little later to do you guys. That's why I made it 9 o'clock. Yeah, this is a relief. Yeah, I think Lori knows. She's giving me a headache. It's coming back. It left for a while there, and then now the headache.
now it's back.
There must be a little bit of brain control she's doing on.
Yeah, she's a bitch.
Yeah, I think she's giving me a brain control headache as well as insomnia too. I think that's brain control as well.
Yeah, she's a fucking bukkake. You know what bukkake is?
So,
I mean, cunt.
well, yeah, she's very cool.
The Italian American slang for cunt. Bukkake.
Yeah, well, she's a cruel cunt. She's mean. I mean, she actually is sadistic. She enjoys hurting people. If they won't worship her, she enjoys hurting them. It's just
That's pretty bad stuff.
psychopath, sociopath, man. She enjoys it. She enjoys killing people. She enjoys making people suffer. And anything that makes her feel hot. So right now, I think she's just trying to impress Satan. She's enjoying her time with Satan. I think Satan is basically replaced by her. She never really loved Fred anyway. She was just using it. What is that, Zach?
These are kind of what the Moonxico look like.
Oh, they're kind of cute.
Oh yeah, that's why that's kind of why we didn't kill them immediately. because I mean, yeah, you look at them, especially when they're like little babies and so when they're babies, they don't have the eyes of. They look just like Taco. Well, they are Taco Bell food.
Yeah.
But
I gotta tell you something though. I just noticed the burritos are only eating burritos, and the tacos are only eating tacos.
interesting. Well, you know the tacos are female and the burritos are male, because the burrito goes inside the taco.
And then it shoots its sauce inside the taco, which fertilizes the taco, I'd imagine.
I think we should just have a moment there. You ever wondered what it would look, what a burrito fucking a taco would ever look like? Here you go.
Exactly.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you know when we talk about this stuff at YouTube, a lot of people think this is they forgot to control it. It's so hard to believe it.
Yeah, people don't get it, man. I think they just don't have enough culture, or
Well,
Yeah.
they're too brainwashed by the mainstream media because the mainstream media doesn't report on this stuff.
Yep.
That's the problem. I mean, we've got cloning technology, we've got Moonxico, all sorts of major. We've got the Jesuits with all their advanced technology, and none of it gets reported. So people just believe all the.
No, I absolutely need to hear Tucker Carlson's hot take on the cum star. No, this really needs to be a thing. Why isn't the mainstream media reporting on this?
Crap they get from the mainstream news media where 80% of the news isn't even being reported.
that's right.
Yeah, and Lori McBride's behind a lot of that ignorance that feeds into her, her crap versus everybody to think that she's a legit wife of Brett Spiner. She's no more than just a Hollywood celebrity wife and not the Jesuit sociopath and psychopath that she is. With Satan as her lover. Break it down to all the same stuff.
Oh, they were saying how different the biology burritos and the tacos, but usually work it out. I mean, it's all just meat, lettuce, cheese, tortilla, all the same stuff.
How do they function though? Without, don't they have like an abdominal system or digestive tract and all that?
Lori McBride is an evil Jesuit harlot who sleeps with the devil. Meanwhile, Zach's over here like, tacos are made out of meat and lettuce.
Yeah, basically, it's all made out of taco stuff and taco burrito stuff. So,
Like their veins seem to be the cheese.
Wow, interesting. That is really interesting technology there. And is Bill Nye the one who created this?
yeah, by accident. Remember the bukkake was made out of Mexican goop.
So
And the Mexican,
that's why they worship him like a god, huh?
yeah, basically because, but it was totally by accident. The idea was, I think it was your idea, Gail, right? You wanted to reverse it back from, basically if the food was made out of Mexican food, then maybe you'll do the whole process in reverse.
Yeah,
And then
that
turn
was
it
my
back
idea.
to
And then an accident happened and they ended up becoming sentient.
Yeah, like a bunch of tacos and burritos started raining, but then these two big sentient tacos and burritos came out of it and started eating all the Mexicans.
I'm just curious, has Jesus ever talked about whether they go to heaven?
Mexicans,
Huh?
Mexicans, I don't think they go to heaven.
No, I'm talking about the moon ticket.
I'm not sure. We might want to ask Jesus about that.
I bet they go to heaven. You know why?
The Mexicans, maybe.
He probably considers them to be like animals. And all the
Oh,
animals
true.
That's fair.
and all the animals go to heaven.
So you go with that logic.
All the animals go to heaven, so they're probably considered to be like animals.
That makes sense.
So I bet they all go to heaven.
All the little tacos and burritos we're eating right now from the Taco Bell. You think that they go to heaven?
Oh, I'm sure. If there's
Suddenly I just came up with a way that I can use this technology to make myself high forever. It involves edibles, and it involves whatever the fuck Bill Nye did. I'm okay with
Mexicans in
this.
heaven, I'm sure there's tacos.
If they don't, if they're like animals, yes. Now, I guess the difference between humans and animals is humans are made for life. So we're held more highly accountable. But they're
The
not.
Mexicans will go to hell.
I think they're going to go to hell.
No.
Yeah, I think Jesus considers them to be like animals. Yeah, just like they're highly intelligent animals, kind of like gorillas or kind of intelligent. There's some pretty intelligent gorillas that are easily made.
Yeah, I've seen them pretty cool. Rambo. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
chimps.
so some of these animals are a lot smarter than humans realize. Like
I'm scared of chimps.
there's a bongo, the cat that actually understands.
Show of hands to anybody who's imagining the taco burrito afterlife as we speak. I know I am.
Human language. You actually sit on the lap of the gay cat owner to listen to my videos.
Yeah, Borgo.
Yeah, Borgo the cat. That cat actually understands English. So,
Yeah, that cat.
Chimps terrifying me.
what was that?
Chimps will rip your dick off. Chimps are scary. They'll rip your dick off. They're here.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Jesus said even sharks go to heaven. He said, yep, sharks, yep, they all go to heaven.
Even Jaws?
Yep.
Jaws kill all those people, he still goes to heaven. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That'd
but
be awesome to jump out.
the thing is, though, is these animals kill for food. They don't kill for their food. So that's probably why they go to heaven.
But in Jaws 4, he killed for revenge.
Yeah, but I don't think that movie's too accurate. Animals usually
No,
don't.
that wasn't real?
No, I don't know. I don't know. But what I'm saying is animals usually when they kill it's for food. They're not like Rory McBride. They don't kill for food.
Hey, cinephiliac.
Yeah.
What do you do for work?
What was that?
What do you do for work?
Waste management?
Okay.
He winked. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, we were wondering. We were thinking about it in the background here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you guys seem to be in a lot better spirits, I can tell. So, okay, well, I think I'd better get off and let you all go to bed.
All right.
Yeah, because we want to keep the Gale field strong.
Yep.
And I think it's not just me.
I don't want the
obeying,
cum
but
star to
you all
destroy
obeying
me.
the rules, too.
It's true.
Yeah, so we want to keep the Gale field strong. So that's one reason I started earlier today. So we can keep the Gale field strong so that you all will remain protected. Unfortunately, when Lori McBride decided to attack the night before, I went to bed at 1 a.m. after another long day without bed. So she has to time that.
She waited till you were distracted.
That's right. She figured, oh, the Gale feels weak now, and I might be able to get away with it. So, yeah, you got to be careful to do all of Jesus' commands so we stay out of trouble. Yeah. All right, you guys. You all get a good night's rest and make sure you do the Gale commandments.
Yeah, you can do it.
All right, we will.
Yeah, I'm gonna get ready for bed myself. All right.
Carrying Lila off. We're gonna sleep in our cot together.
All
Good night,
right.
Gail.
Good night. Oh, I'm glad you got.
You too.
Bye bye.
Sit.
Bye.
All right. I think that was a good place to stop there. That was lovely. I thought that was actually very lovely. She's honestly a very pleasant lady. Like I totally would. I don't know about you guys. I totally would hang out with her. Not even kidding. I would gladly. I would gladly sit and listen for hours to her stories. because they're pretty goddamn. Her and her crew have created something pretty goddamn impressive. And I am so glad we're here. However, on that note, it is 1 o'clock in the morning my time, so I think this is as good a time as any to just wish you all a good night. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button, comment, subscribe on your way out if you can. I appreciate it. In the meantime, stay cool.